go, guys.
location. Okay, great, but then
Watchparty
they
once
do not
again.
get blessed by zone. They take the long
PMWC
rotate
देख रहे
up
हैं।
north, which isn't uncharacteristic from what they
zone
were
के
doing
बीच में
during the
full support
Americas.
को
But you had that solo who just randomly goes off on his own. He gets picked apart. Now
भाई
Alpha
qualify हो
7
गया
is
ना,
down
फाइनल्स
to
देखने का
3.
जो मजा
You
आएगा।
have another player
Oh,
who starts to
knock यार।
rotate out, scan the horizons, he gets taken down, and then all of a sudden
एक
now you
जोन के
get picked
सेंटर
up
में
by
थी
4
जितना मैंने
stacks
देखा
and
था।
you just get taken out.
3 man
Alpha
है, एक
7
कैजुअलिटी हो गया था।
continually something is
रोटेशन में
going
हुआ था,
wrong.
स्टार्ट ही
I'm
हुआ था,
super
फर्स्ट
worried for
जोन में
them.
हुआ था।
I'm ringing the alarm bells. I
लोग
think
का
they
वही
are
हो रहा है, क्या पता
sincerely
क्यों
in
हर एक
trouble.
गेम
But
में
there's plenty of
कैजुअलिटी ले
rosters
रहे एक
still
दो
remaining who
जोन
are
के
not only
स्टार्ट
on the
में।
bubble but also trying to maintain their position in top 8. Love, where AXTMG are currently at. Infinite line of sights, a power spot
ये
to
FF
be
तो
in.
क्वालिफाई हो
And
गई
luckily
है।
for them, there's no one around them, but
पूरा
everybody is in front of
ऑलमोस्ट हो रहा,
them, so they
मतलब
can
पूरा
continue to
कितना और
pepper
10
anybody that
पॉइंट
they
चाहिए
see.
4 गेम में,
Falcons,
5
they
गेम में
managed to send
ऑलमोस्ट।
through to the southwest side at the cost of
ये
one of their players.
मतलब ये गिन के
Now
5
they're under pressure.
के होरा को देख लो,
Valor
1
gets
पॉइंट
found
निकालते
out in the
हुए।
open, unaware of the team right next door to them, and will just lose another. So 2 players survive for the
मेरे को
Falcons.
लग रही
Playing
है,
on with
मेरे
Redox and
को लग रही है
Koa. They
कि
lost Ralph early on. Now Valor next to follow them, and for Hora on that
एक का अच्छा
southwestern
गेम जा
side,
सकता है।
they're going to
हम
have
लोग
to
थोड़ा
try
सा
and play on out. They have 5 points already.
ये
They are the next team
पनौती
right
नहीं
on the
मारते।
doorstep of getting up to that
खेलने दो
70
एक्स
point
को जैसे
boundary.
खेल रहे,
They
प्लीज
just need
खेल
one
लो अच्छे
placement
से।
or one more elim, as well as power up on 8 elims, 2 points behind that boundary on 70 points.
एंजॉय करते गेम।
Only a solo
जो
though.
भी
It's gonna
चैट
be
में
easy,
लाइक और
opposite of
सब्सक्राइब कर
Kinetro,
दो,
who's
एक
just
लकी
up
विनर
to
को
theirs, or up
500
to his
GPAY
win,
मिलने
I
वाला
should
है।
say. The moment, Falcons, Hora, most likely going to run into each other again. As Koa and Redox keeping them in their line of sight. IG most likely going to have an effect at least later on for Falcons, depending on how Hora ends up deciding to push up. Smokes are out. Hora might be making a rotate already, but the important thing, where do we shift the zone? Well, that's great for E Arena as well as Kinetro, who are in dead center. Kinetro desperately needing points to elevate themselves up towards top 8. Final needs to join in and do it unscathed. If he can do so, Kinetro might very well
फर्स्ट गेम अच्छे 5 पॉइंट्स निकाले, वो भी अच्छा ऑलमोस्ट एनएस को वाइप किए 3 और एक पहले इजी का एक बंदा मार दिया था, सॉरी पावर का एक बंदा मार दिया था।
Okay, on the inside for a 2-piece with a pump action.
ये क्या मार दिया?
He's got a protective barrier around him though, because he takes down. Wait, was that Vinny as well on the bar?
Bro, ये क्या मार दिया इसने?
This guy wants to be the best.
Well, that I told you, man. I talked to him. He says, I want to be the best. I want to submit my name.
Like no one ever was.
History.
Bro, मैं
Ragnar Karya starting to move up on Hora.
मेरे में इतना दम भी नहीं रहता कि मैं ऐसे शैक खोल के मारूं बे 40 में रहता था मैं कि भाई मैं वाइप हो जाऊं पहले तो लास्ट बंदा बाकी है
but no worries Sky continues to fight tooth and nail Ragnar Karya still having life if Sky can't pull off the hat trick Hora they're out
intense game as well on the northern side could potentially move in
bro,
at
मैं बोलने वाला था Hora का गेम है bro Hora का गेम बचा दिया है लोग
disengaging sending south there's a solar outpost in
वो लोग फटी में ना Hora भी क्वालीफाई करता है
hovercraft
हो ही गए वो लोग इतना क्या फटी में खेल रहे
staying
हैं
calm for now just seeing what's going on it looks like a tense game pull back away and maybe the fight peters out but I think Sky might just be done for here Romeo though starts to light it up on the hillside
Ragnar Karya astounding that they're even alive 3 members up and in the fight but you mentioned Romeo who now has perfect line of sights on everyone from Ragnar Karya just in front of them and you also got IG starting to come behind him Loxy through the smoke however dodges him miraculously and he has an attempt he's going for it but Petrino shuts him down
will not be able to sidestep and find the follow through there for Ragnar Karya they'll play on as one and I was waiting for Intense Game to get involved I thought maybe they were going to send out towards the east but no the hillsides are just ripe to be swept on through and now with just one player left from Hora they might turn their attention towards Yangon Galacticos' position further south but it is all a question of who can get close to Kinetro
Bro, वो लोग का स्ट्रीम अटका है मेरा नहीं वो लोग का स्ट्रीम अटका है मेरा नहीं अटका है
So for Sky, what he can do as a solo. Behind that of IG, he hasn't been spotted. But luckily for IG, they've got... Oh no, they're parking the bus, which means Sky, he could have a devastating effect. Here's Benny
Bro, ये
with the
क्या
3
मारा है
takes
ये
down
क्या
2.
नेक्स्ट
Well,
ये वाला देख लो ये वाला क्या
nowhere,
मारा
Benny
है
says, hey, where you going, buddy? And moves him straight down.
Bro, मैं वो शैक खोलने का हिम्मत नहीं रखता था लास्ट प्लेयर बाकी हूँ मैं स्क्वाड का मेरे को पता अगर मैंने शैक खोल दिया और उधर मैं मर गया Bro, टीममेट्स मेरी गन मार देंगे भाई Bro,
he only needed those 3 shells and he racked up 3 points. That was really impressive from Benny to be able to connect those shots, especially on the moving buggy, under pressure from the high ground as well.
Out of the world,
and
bro.
It's rightly so that they're up in now 5th place with those 4 points under their belt and maybe more to come. However, for Vision, they've got a choice to make, and it may be that they send for the shack that Benny sits inside of.
The shift is, honestly, if I'm Sky at the moment,
ऊपर
I'm
की
just
साइड
full sending an IG.
चलेगा।
Like, I'm
ओह
trying to do
शिट,
as
लेकिन
much
फाइट है
damage as
फिर अभी
possible.
ये
No
फाइट
reason
है।
why Hoda is a bit
VSN के
different
साथ
being in
फाइट हो
second
जाएगा,
place,
3v2
already
में
at
निकाल
17
सकते हैं हम लोग।
points. Sky can afford to do this.
हो
Now,
जाएगा,
they
हो जाएगा।
rotate by him, but Sky does manage to fight it out, and he's
Bro, हो
firing
रहा।
shots. He's connecting a bit. Petrino
ठीक है।
fell.
एक
However,
नॉक, मेरे को लगा उसने
IG
दो नॉक
managed to
निकाल दिए।
recover, and they'll still be a 3-man unit to
अगर
push deeper
एक
into
गई
the
जोन में
zone.
ना,
For Romeo on the hovercraft,
अच्छा
he's
VSN
still
डाउन
scouting
है।
the surroundings, seeing what's out there.
मार सकते हैं ये लोग को, मार सकते
Maintaining
हैं।
it, so
अरे ब्रो,
valuable
एक
for the
पहले
win.
जानी चाहिए
But
थी
with
ना।
his own ship, Kinatrop once again still in a
अबे यार, अभी
spot.
एक पीछे से
My
आके
eyes
मारने
once
चाहिए।
again fall to them.
ब्रो, गन पावर
A
पे
big
भरोसा
game
रखो।
here
कौन है?
would
हेनरी आ रही
elevate
है
them
ना?
up the
डिवोटी है।
standings. They're at 22 points.
मेरे को डिवोटी का
Breaking
गेम
into
थोड़ा
the top
ज्यादा
8 is
पसंद
very
आता है।
doable, and they
वो
can
बहुत
honestly
ऐसे
get very close
फ्री
with the
मैन
win
खेलते हैं और
in
मेरे को
game
अच्छा
2.
लगता है।
Really
वो
good
कैसे खेलते
information
हैं।
gathering there from Vision. They saw Intense Game leaving from that location, which opens up the position now that Marcelo and Nawaf have moved into. Before Intense Game and all the teams on the western side move, you cannot play the western side of the quarry like this, but as soon as they see that maneuver happen, they are in there. And that is a really smart rotation coming through from Vision. I like to see it. We'll see if they can go further.
Romeo taking a little bit of damage.
क्या बात है यार,
Rafa
क्या
also
बात है।
shooting the hovercraft to get it relatively low in health. I thought it was on fire, but I can't fully tell from that angle. Adrian with the off angle. Renat, though, sees it. Ready to take him out. If he so's desire, unless he didn't see it, it goes right straight into Adrian, who takes over a little bit of the high ground that he possibly can. And the push is in. Adrian nade out. Rafa has also joined, and we have a tense game. Absolutely, they're fully committing to the Shanghai Galacticus.
अरे यार,
That nade looks
बोला
good.
डायरेक्ट
Just
यार।
about dodging the damage around the cliff. On the edge there, the rocks protect him for the time being. Adrian is low now, though. More nades getting sent back and forth. That is just a tickle, but across the way, Fireflux can really start to get involved now. They just need to step a little bit closer, and they have full sight lines on towards Yangon Galacticos. You can see Solus wants to get a little bit more done, but across the way, you've got Kinatrop to worry about. This open ground around Kinatrop is just so deadly, and no team has really been able to do too much about it. It may have just been handed to Kinatrop on these circle shifts.
Well, the hovercraft has been blown up. Romeo still uses coverage. He's putting in great work, peppering the members of IG just up ahead. No one's going to be able to penetrate it. No one's going to be able to shoot Romeo in his current spot. So IG, that's one less member they're unfortunately not going to be able to fire upon. Rafa and Adrian starting to run on fumes. They can't go anywhere. They need to get up. They need to get out of blue, but there's only open space. Yeah, the buggy is one thing, but you know you're going to get gunned down. I think this is the end for IG.
Rafa going down there, and they are going to commit for the flush, confirming that point for Yangon Galacticos, but into the zone. Adrian sending, maybe able to find a little nook and cranny to hide behind. Actually has Easy now as a buffer between him and Yangon Galacticos, and could survive for just a bit longer.
Fireflux also in front of Yangon Galacticos. I feel like they have had to fight tooth and nail, and every point on their rotation. But honestly, not a bad thing. They haven't been wiped yet. They're also on the bubble. This is great for them. If they can pull off team wipe after team wipe, those are valuable points to continue their way up in the top 8. But I am a little bit worried where Adrian is currently at. Now he's got a great line of sight on the Yangon Galacticos, who's going to be just ahead of him. Meanwhile, Benny also up ahead. I can't wait to see what he's going to be able to do as a solo. But for Vision, desperately trying to get it off angle, maybe a knock onto Kinatrop. They want that high ground. They want that location because they understand how important it's going to be.
Kinatrop again just decimating these teams around them. Unfortunately, they haven't earned too many points for it. So this is the question that you have to ask towards Kinatrop. What sort of value can they extract from this location? Because they have been nigh on unassailable in this spot for so long. But with 25 minutes on the clock, those remaining player counts are going to start to drop.
Yeah, I think they're about to pick up at least 4 or 5, depending on what Marcelo does for
Bro,
Team
उसको
Vision.
angle
They've
कहाँ
been
से मिल रहा
slowly
है?
making their way up. That drop on Tamra
क्या scene है
is
ये?
going to hurt, however. And you mentioned the value. I thought they were going to pick up plenty of elims, but now they're getting picked apart. And you also have E-Arena, who might choose to dip their toe in this fight as well for the third party. But you also have Yangon Galacticus desperately trying to move forward, and Team Vision focused fully on them. Where's the buggy going, though? That was a bit of a risky play. Yangon Galactica have been blowing players out of buggies, out of vehicles, but luckily reposition ends up paying off.
They're going to keep things together. I feel like Team Vision have been playing this one really well. They held that push from behind against AXTMG. They open up with a pick towards Kinotrope, which does take them out of the power play quite a little bit. Finally, Binny does go down. He did do a lot of damage, though, during that match. Ladder's up to 7th place, and a credit to him. Credit to his team as well. This is the last player from Intense Game who's managed to sneak their way in. It's on to Team Vision, really, to make a move here. And on to Yangon Galacticos as well.
YG का चिकन नहीं आना चाहिए यार, वो लोग एकदम ऊपर चले जाएंगे फिर, समझ रहे हम लोग के लिए डिफिकल्ट हो जाएगा। ये वो लोग भी 40s में है ना, DSN तो भले अभी 8 पॉइंट निकाली है तो 8 किल निकाली है, 31 पहुंच गए, वरना हम लोग के साथ ही
Vision firing shots on some Kinotrope are also throwing their hat in the ring. It would be a miracle.
YG का तो मुश्किल है, YG का तो मुश्किल है, दोनों हट जाएगा ये लोग से,
at least so much.
DSN को चांस है। अरे ब्रो ये क्या मार रहा है?
And Vision, where do they go? Do they want to continue to pin Yangon Galacticus or move up? Well, they're moving up. They want to capitalize off the knock in the full finish.
They can do both as well if they could do that fast enough, which they do. They're able to find that. Adrian down the hill. They know that Yangon Galacticos are very unlikely to poke their heads in now with just one player remaining. It's too much of a risk. The nade downhill, he hops in the buggy, but it's actually the backlines there coming on through. No, hang on a minute. It was the spray down on the player hopping in there, and they will find the last player. Fireflux flexing out. It feels like this should be another Fireflux win as they start to extend their control from the eastern side. E-Arena trying to push up from Quarry, but you can see what Scarface could do to them. There is very few worlds in which they successfully make their way up to the top of this.
But then they hurt a little bit. I don't know, maybe a couple more of those. You take Scarface out, that opens up the door to continue your progression up the hill. But I don't think so. Madcap also looking down. Fireflux, it's such a great spot, but I mean, let's not kid ourselves. This area is so highly contested, and Nawaf, he's pushing up along with the Alone, and this is going to be a great angle onto the Fireflux team as they start to take damage. You still got Joker also from E-Arena pushing up. This is going to be a mad dash for control on the top of the hill, and you got 3 rosters all butting heads.
Kinotrope are starting to fade here now. Last player for them to stand. Vision's playing over 2. E-Arena is 3 who have been trying to fight their way in here. Scarface gets rezzed for Fireflux. That is going to be really, really important. However, in order to get that res, they've had to move solos all the way to the back of their hold. They've lost a bit of pressure, and teams from the western side can start to move. And that's what's given E-Arena this momentum, this ability to get as close as they have. Mormon now with an opportunity, maybe to mantle here, but he pops that Molotov up on high, and they aren't quite going to find it just yet. In the meantime, Yangon Galacticos lose their last.
Oh, they see him. I think they're wanting to go for the challenge onto Mormon. They don't want to overexpose themselves. You got to find a fine balance here. Too aggressive and a recklessness. But if you do it just right, you could dismantle a roster. Vision onto Kinotrope. You mentioned the solo, and Kinotrope ends up falling. And now things start to get serious.
Arena are starting to put more pressure on, and it's going to be Madcap to fall next for Fireflux. Never Alone tries to go for the low road, and catches him out on it. Looks for the shot, but Nawaf with a 1-2 punch up on high. As Solus gets flushed, it's a pincer maneuver onto Fireflux, and there, left down to 2. Catch now down, and Arena may have just been able to mount the impossible assault towards the top of the ridgeline on Quarry.
But we've seen solos provide a dominating effort for Scarface. One player down low, he's been spotted, however, so the cat's going to be out of the bag, at least from Vision's perspective. Now the question is, does Mormon, Joker, Sakura from E-Arena know where Scarface is currently at? It should very well be a dominating win from E-Arena where they currently are, but Scarface can dismantle this push, can dismantle the hopes and dreams of E-Arena from taking away. Shots are fired, Mormon is down.
Scarface catches the backline for E-Arena, and he's looking for more. He's looking healthy. He got a helmet refresh there. A fresh level 2 over onto Scarface. And he jumps straight into Vision. Now in a 2 versus 2 though, Vision can do a little bit more. They've got a little bit more firepower here. Now up on the face. Oh, he turns his attention away just at the wrong time. And a from the sidelines keeps him alive.
That's it. Team Vision desperately trying to fight, and they do get a knock. This could be a takeover attempt for Team Vision. Sakura firing shots, but it's not enough. Is Vision pulling it off? Can they do it? Or will Sakura lock it in for the back-to-back for Arena to start the day? And it will be Arena back-to-back victories on the day. They look as if they are poised to go to Grand Finals, and they won it.
Last time around, they went out a little bit quietly towards the end for the chicken dinner. This time, it was bombastic from the Arena. They held their nerve. They moved up those tiered positions on Quarry. It is so uncommon to see a team win from inside the Quarry. Fireflux dropped the ball in a big way from that eastern side. It felt like Kinatrop as well could have done a lot more in that situation, but a massive credit to E-Arena. This is a display of skill that you do not often see.
हेलो हेलो बात कर रहा हूँ। ये देख लो अभी इधर से
through that way with 2 players.
एक चीज
Put them into the grave,
जिप्सैनो को लेके
placing there.
so much reverence, but if they don't win this fight, that's going to be a big blow. The Swivel starting to rotate into the top 8. That means they're going into finals, and already Kinatrop is actually getting active, surprisingly. And Yingon Galacticus, with their head on the Swivel, starting to rotate out of Paradise, and now focus, at least right now, on the solo Kinatrop.
It feels like the play there for
उसके बाद हम लोग हेनरी नॉक फिनिश हो जाता है। अब ये हेनरी नॉक फिनिश हुआ कहाँ है? पहले तो इधर कैजुअलिटी लेते ही नहीं थे। ये गेम बहुत अच्छा था, स्टार्टिंग में ही 5 किल्स आ गए थे। डिवोटी नॉक होता है, लेकिन आर्यन ट्रेड ले लेता है, लेकिन वो दूसरे टीम को मारता है। लेकिन मेरे को पहले लगा वो ट्रेड है, लेकिन आर्यन दूसरे टीम को ही मार रहा है। तो डिवोटी लॉन्ग रेंज नॉक हुआ, ऑब्वियसली वो रिवाइव हुआ है। ये दो टीम के साथ फाइट क्यों ले रहे हो? इतना रिस्की मूव कैसे? क्यों लेना है वो रिस्क? मतलब हाँ रिस्क लो, लेकिन उधर लो जिधर रिवॉर्ड हो। अभी डिवोटी उधर ग्रैब हो गया है, एंगल बना लो ना डिवोटी, पहले ही एंगल बना लो। इतना टाइम जो वेस्ट कर रहे थे। ये और एक रिस्क है मुंह के सामने से। भाई पीएमजीसी खेल रहे हो भाई, वो लोग पीएमडब्ल्यूसी खेल रहे हो भाई, वो लोग गिरा देंगे। ये अपने ऐसे अगल बगल के लौंडे नहीं है भाई इंडिया के। वो भी बहुत अच्छा मारते हैं, लेकिन फिर भी भाई ये तो भाई नेक्स्ट लेवल मारते हैं। ये एक अच्छा नेड मॉली था, ये बहुत प्यारा नेड मॉली था आर्यन का।
Oh, he's playing on. Yeah,
पैनिक करा दिया उसने बिनी को. ये वही बिनी है जो अभी शॉटगन मारा था.
But still, Devotee not going to take the
क्या
shot.
बात है आर्यन, बहुत अच्छा फाइट निकाल दे. फिर उधर और एक नॉक देता है और तीसरा प्लेयर चले जाता है, लेकिन ठीक है 4 किल इधर ही निकल जाते हैं, which is very good for EX.
Yeah, they had a great
Too
day,
good for EX.
48 points. They finish up in the top 5, but there's no guarantee come game 6 that they're still going to be.
अभी इधर जो गलती होता है वो देखो.
Also going in.
ये सब बहुत अच्छा है. सेंटर ऑफ द जोन लिया.
Is currently at.
ये देखो गलती इधर हुआ है.
Going down there.
Able to shoot Romeo.
Got to get him.
ये जोन बंद होते हैं ना.
Moved into before.
Very close. Seeing what's out there. That hovercraft maintain.
यही गलती था. ये देखो अभी AX टॉप राइट पे है और VSN लेफ्ट पे है, और जो ड्रॉप के इधर वाला एरिया है ना वो जोन होता है. ये देखो हाँ ये जोन है. अभी ये तो बहुत राइट में, ठीक है. NS का एक बंदा बाकी है बिनी, वो शैक में, वो तो कुछ करेगा नहीं, ऊपर मार नहीं सकता है वो. अगर आर्यन, साइरेक्स और हेनरी, चलो साइरेक्स या हेनरी में से एक भी पीछे रहता है, या तो आर्यन ही पीछे रहता है. आर्यन जो पोजी पे है वो ठीक है कवर देने के लिए. अगर साइरेक्स और हेनरी ड्रॉप के साइड या तो ये कंपाउंड ले लेते, ड्रॉप के उधर बना कंपाउंड या शैक है वो, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग वो एक वॉच टावर टाइप शैक है, वो ले लेते हैं, या डाउन द रिज जिधर VSN खेली ना उधर ही वो ही डाउन द रिज भी ले लेते ना. भाई गेम था भाई. आर्यन पीछे से कवर दे देता, VSN 3 मैन है, मार देते हम लोग. लेकिन भाई हम लोग इतना स्टॉल कर रहे हैं कि ब्रो बहुत डिफिकल्ट हो रहा है वो. ये देखो VSN ले लेती है वो. ये तो हो रहा था भाई क्रेजी. फिर अभी देखो VSN पहले यही करता है. देखो वॉच टावर वाला जो मैं बोल रहा था वो ले लेते हैं हम लोग ऊपर. चलो ऊपर नहीं खेलना, इधर नीचे खेल लो. VSN ने पहले ही ले लिया. अभी लिया तो लिया, आपको सेटल होने देना ही नहीं था VSN को. आप भी 3 मैन हो, VSN भी 3 मैन हो.
With the win in game 2.
Really good information gathering there from Vision. They saw Intense Game leaving from that location, which opens up the position now that Marcelo and Nawaf have moved into. Before Intense Game and all the teams on the western side move, you cannot play the western side of the quarry like this, but as soon as they see that maneuver happen, they are in there. And that is a really smart rotation coming through from Vision. I like to see it. We'll see if they can go further.
Romeo taking a little bit of damage. Rafa also shooting the hovercraft. Get it relatively low in health. I thought it was on fire, but I can't fully tell from that angle. Adrian with the off angle. Renat though sees it, ready to take him out. If he sows the siren, unless he didn't see it, it goes
there, but they just weren't doing anything with it.
Before I go deep in my point, I want to say for a team that this much control in the game as Fireflux, only getting 4 eliminations is very low.
It's wild, actually.
Yeah, it's like normally you'd expect a team to get a few more eliminations there, but no, they just don't make a decision. They have 2 players on the low ground, 2 players on the high ground, and like every circle I'm like, they're going to regroup, right? Still don't regroup. They're going to regroup, right? Still don't. And it keeps going until the very end of the game, and eventually I see a very clear weakness, which is
finals always on
the center.
By the way, being right there, still use this coverage, and he's putting in great.
Going down there. And then
but honestly, meanwhile, Benny also up ahead. They want that location because they have.
But with 25.
But now they're getting picked up. They're trying to move forward, and team luckily reposition ends up paying off.
Damage though during that match.
Getting out of the. At least so.
The Yangon Galacticos are very unlikely to poke their heads in now with just.
I think they're going to bounce the straight line of sight on the Yangon Galacticos, who's going to be just ahead.
For Yangon Galacticos, but into the zone, Adrian sending, may be able to find a little nook and cranny to hide behind. Actually has easy now as.
If they can pull off team wipe after team wipe, those are valuable points to continue their way up in the top 8. But I am a little bit worried where Adrian is currently at. Now he's got a great line of sight on the Yangon Galacticos, who's going to be just ahead of him. Meanwhile, Benny also up ahead. I can't wait to see what he's going to be able to do as a solo. But for Vision, desperately trying to get it off angle, maybe a knock onto Kinotrope. They want that high ground. They want that location because they understand how important it's going to be.
Kinotrope, again, just decimating these teams around them. Unfortunately, they haven't earned too many points for it. So this is the question that you have to ask towards Kinotrope. What sort of value can they extract from this location? Because they have been nigh on unassailable in this spot for so long. But with 25 minutes on the clock, those remaining player counts are going to start to drop.
Yeah, I think they're about to pick up at least 4 or 5, depending on what Marcelo does from Team Vision. They've been slowly making their way up. That drop on Tamra is going to hurt, however. And you mentioned the value. I thought they were going to pick up plenty of elims, but now they're getting picked apart. And you also have E-Arena, who might choose to dip their toe in this fight as well for the third party. But you also got Yangon Galacticus Death.
Kinotrope, which his team as well.
Yangon Galacticos are firing shots onto as remaining members should be finished. Great for
if they can do that fast enough, which they do. They're able to find that. Adrian down the hill. They know that Yangon Galacticos are very unlikely to
try and deal with what E-Arena is bringing right now. 2 wins to start off the survival stage as they find themselves now in 4th place. A huge leap on up. And now look who is in the danger zone, Max.
Uh-oh, Team Falcons. You don't want to see Team Falcons at the bottom of the first page. That is, they've been slipping. Again, holding their splits a little bit too long, losing players. That's the good old Falcons typical. But I kind of want to look at the points here because you talked about the point threshold to get in top 8 and to be comfortable to make it into finals, Niptura. Around, I would say around 70, 75 points is the threshold. Some teams are already looking very close. I think the amount of slots available now is maybe like 4 teams can still push in top 8? Maybe?
Maybe.
Possibly.
All right, this is panic time. Alpha 7 is 4th from the bottom. This is panic time. They have to do something if they want even a chance to defend themselves here. But of course, you guys at home can get involved with everything that's going on as well. With the PUBG Mobile AI Carnival, Drop Carnival, and it's now live here this weekend from August 1st to the 3rd. Log in to summon your surprise airdrops and collect 2025 airdrop vouchers to enter prize draws for official merchandise, smartphones, BD Partner Awards, permanent in-game items, and more. Every participant is guaranteed to win. Additionally, jump in the game now to vote for your favorite airdrop partner. Again, not Max. You might even, don't say anything, Max, no. You might even score some awesome surprise gifts from them. Don't miss out on this year's airdrop carnival and unbox your surprise. Well, thank you very much, guys. Thank you to you, Max, I suppose. It is time to head over to the commentary team here to bring you all of the action from another Erangel. Let's get it going.
Yeah.
Game number 3 for the day. The first 2 games dominated by E-Arena as they elevate themselves up into the top 3 position. Who knows how high they continue to go. But game 3 being back on Erangel, the home turf for E-Arena. I've got to favor them, but it was said on the desk, John, look, we got to get serious. Alpha 7, game 3, only 4 more games to go for them. Man, oh man, I start to think to myself, will we truly see Alpha 7 in the finals?
No.
Come on, be dramatic.
I mean, when they're dramatic, I'll be dramatic, all right? Because they have not been bringing the drama today. They have been lackluster. They have been falling at every hurdle that's presented to them. It's not good, right? There is some discord between the ranks of Alpha 7. And I mean, they're not talking. It doesn't look like they're actively repairing this one here. But, I mean, what can you do? It has got to feel so demoralizing to be in this situation for Alpha 7, to be in the spot where you are the defending champions, where you are hailed as some of the best players in the world, one of the best teams in the world, and here you are, having just now performed, I think, what is it, like 4 games in a row, getting a maximum of a point a game when you count yesterday's as well.
Well, the reality is they're the ones who control their destiny. They're the ones who can turn the tides of their luck. Now, do they have it within them to do so? You look at their faces and you think, maybe it's determination, maybe it's nerves. It's hard to tell. But for Alpha 7 and other fighters, they're going to continue to fight until the very end, especially that man right there. He jumped at us, by the way, during one of the segments at the beginning. Scary guy, but also a lovely guy at the same time. But whenever it does come to Fireflux, they have outperformed themselves from their group play in the survival stage. They surpassed the threshold. They're now at 83, well within their right to go into the finals. And I must say, man, from Fireflux's perspective, it's been a pleasure watching them, and it's also been great watching E-Arena again as I become a bigger and bigger fan throughout the group stages and the survival stage. When they have a power position, they refuse to let it go.
They managed to make it work from a less than powerful position as well in that quarry, being able to rise from the basin, as we were talking about, as the desk highlighted as well. Getting out of that quarry basin is a real tough task. And maybe you could argue that it was allowed a little bit by Fireflux, sure, but to be able to execute on that, brilliant stuff. Nox and Red Force have been a little bit quiet at the start of today as well. They do have a little bit more of a buffer zone than some of our other teams. Oh, beg your pardon, than some of our other teams, however. So they can keep things going. Power, they've been putting up numbers as we're just drafting across these players right now, getting this lobby ready. Al-Haji, oh, what's
Oh,
look, big love.
Big love.
Big love. What a mustache. What a mustache.
What a mustache. What a guy.
Full time pass.
What a team. Power.
एकदम pressure ही नहीं
Power
लेते भाई.
Esports have been on fire, up there within the top 5. Another roster that is looking to make a huge impact when it comes to the finals. Of course, if they make it, it's say, come here. I don't know if I want to, though.
You'll want to watch this one.
Things get a little, okay, we're showing it. Where are we going?
They're going to Gatka. They're calling it out. They're calling their shot. They love it. They've already pinged it. It's marked on the map there. Bringing up that plane path as well. We get a sneak peek at the plane path.
We definitely
That's coming
do.
from what? Over from George down to the west side of Military Island.
And that's going to be a fun one. Gatka. So maybe all eyes on that. You think they get hot dropped? I don't know. I doubt it. But I will say this, man. It's going to be a fun one for other rosters like Alpha 7 and the ones that are down below. Honestly, even Throw Vision, right, in that respect. They're going to have to step it up because we only have a limited number of games left. Game number 3, we're hopping into Aaron. The last one was fun. This one should be even better.
Let's see if teams can continue their march towards the top 8 or if they will not make it. Oh, the plane path going the other direction, sorry. But it is still from the west side of Military Island up towards Georgia Pole, towards shooting range. So we've had our east plane path. We're going to have a west plane path. Maybe we'll have a central one in the next game, but we'll have to wait for that as we will take to the skies once more. I feel like the cheese decal on the plane is really taking me out of it sometimes.
I like it. I think it's cool, man. Get creative, but it's like you are going in with the intensity of like what you're thinking. Wanting to dominate their opponents, and then they hop onto a cheese plate. It's a duality for sure.
What's that smell? Is it Alpha 7's performance? Oh no, it's just the play.
Or it's you.
It's 728 points.
It's hot out here.
Bro, वो लोग इधर से qualify कर लिए ना, bro. Oh my God, हो जाएगा.
Maybe it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'll put that on my CV now.
Without a doubt.
When people contact me for jobs, I'm going to be like, Reflections said, I smell great.
You smell great. They're going to be like, who is Reflections? What are you talking about? Alpha 7 will once again go up to Georgia Pole as they typically do. They'll naturally know who's going to be around them. I believe like IG, Aura, who have been hanging out. R8 might be going up there too, which could be fun. R8, a team that is doing incredibly well today. Most likely going to be seeing them in the finals. All eyes. Oh, this is great for Alpha 7. Perfect effect for them. They don't need to rotate. They can loot up as much as they possibly want. One of their big things, though, is having stragglers go out and scout who are getting targeted, leaving them with 3, and then leaving them with a duo. No more of that. Stay together. They've got the 2-2 split. That's going to be just fine. That's typically what they do off the initial. But this could be the game Alpha 7 has needed in order to start rising up the ranks.
I'm looking at the West Coast right now, and we do hop over to Influence Rage in a timely fashion because there are 3 teams who are dispersed around the areas to the north of Quarry. You've got Gamax, you've got Influence Rage, you've got E-Arena. All of them seem to be a little bit reluctant to get stuck into a fight and probably just looking for a little bit of weaponry to get on board and try and extricate themselves from one another. That's not how you want to start, though. That is what we call a mistake coming through from Gamax to kick things off.
What in the world?
I don't even know how he did that. I guess he must have tumbled. I guess he must have tumbled the vehicle because there's no like rocks around it.
Right.
That's actually impressive.
Yeah. Now you know what would be truly devastating if they lose 2 now.
Right.
We're going to revive on this. They should be just fine, but. That is definitely a bit of a stumble. Gamex has been struggling all the way towards the bottom, obviously, and Well, Lil Boy and Influence Rage do start to go and travel up the road, so the revive needs to
Bro,
happen
सोच
kind
लो
of
वे अगर
quickly. I don't know, Gamix might be in a little bit of trouble.
कमबैक
Oh,
कर
we are gonna
सकते
get a
हैं तो
replay.
EX भी कर सकते हैं. Oh
He's
wow.
already super low, and that tiny little ditch knocked him. Oh, that's so sad.
It is, and Influence Rage is heading potentially straight into him now. They're going to veer off to the left, so good on them. They'll get back up. They'll be a 4-man unit
पूरा को
once
जल्दी
again,
रोटेट
but
करना
that
पड़ेगा.
could have been bad for sure.
Thanks to production for getting that replay.
Without a
for me,
doubt.
by the way.
Without a doubt.
Big shout out to those guys. They've been pulling shifts behind the scenes out here. We've been loving every second of working with them, and we'll be glad to see the rest of the week out with them too. Unfortunately, not all of our teams are going to be seeing the rest of the week out with them, and we are on board with the team on the bubble right now in 8th place. Falcons, 50 points as it stands after 8 matches completed.
Yeah, which is tough to see. A world, a grand finals where you don't have Falcons, you don't have Alpha 7. Come on, that is something we surely did
नहीं
not
बे हो जाएगा
expect. Falcons
तो
roster
Falcons
much
तो हो
hyped up
जाएगा.
coming into this
Alpha 7
event.
थोड़ा सा मुश्किल
Picked
लग
up a
रहा
good
है.
one.
लेकिन वो भी हो ही
Now they
जाना
might not
चाहिए
even make it to the
था.
final day, so they've got to step it up without
Bro,
question.
A7 give up
They're gonna be over
attitude तो
towards
नहीं
the
है यार. वो लोग fight तो
right
करेंगे.
outer edge of
किसी में भी नहीं
the
रहेगा ये
next
give up
stage.
attitude लेकिन ठीक.
Moving in, Noxious Red Force most likely coming up behind them too. Something to look out for. Influence Rage starts to get dangerously close up to IG, a team that is on the bubble right behind Falcons. The roster, so we were just mentioning, potentially not making it into the final.
Power.
Meanwhile, for Vision, they're on the
और
hunt.
दिखा लो
They're hunting
गटका.
down Power.
और दिखा लो
Easy
गटका.
off back of the vehicle. They aren't going to slow down too much. Instead, they turn around, and the rest of the team comes through. Now, all 4 players from Vision are
गया
going to
ही
try
गया.
and get
Dead है,
into
dead है
pursuit.
यार.
A little
Dead.
hop over
Impossible
the
है
terrain,
बचना,
and
bro.
more shots coming through from the hollow
Oh.
sight. At Mini 14, pumping damage into Easy, but again,
भाई
he
क्या
protects himself,
cover
he keeps
fire
safe,
बे.
and falls back with the rest of Power. So staying alive there could be all important, and maybe all important for Vision, because they're in 10th place right now. They're chasing.
Without a doubt, right? Very close to catching
Power
up
तो
and breaking
third है
into
भाई.
top
मेरे
8.
को tension.
I want this
Bro,
game to get away from them.
भाई
They're
इसको
from one fight
निकल
maybe
जा.
to
Cyrex
another.
निकल जा भाई. ये लोग
HDG
भाई
off to their
कुत्ते हैं भाई.
right-hand
दौड़ा देंगे
side,
भाई.
firing warning shots. Regnum Karya, though, well within their right, within top 5. Looking
तो
very,
अगर
very
ये लोग
good at
casualty
the
लिए
moment.
वापस.
They start to rotate in as well as starts to get active up towards
इतने
IG.
ऊपर क्यों
outside
है?
the
Water
region.
City लूट रहे थे ना?
And we do expect that. Now
Bro,
stays the
lovely लग गए.
zone.
Lovely
It's
लग
actually
गए.
gonna have some water, which
सब हम लोग
always
individual
makes
में
things a
हैं.
little bit spicy. Arena getting active onto Gamix.
Yeah, E-Arena
Iron
having
निकल जा
found
भाई.
that initial knock first. Looks like that could be rezzed up. They're taking more shots out that way. It is mostly just Joker out here. The rest of E-Arena not quite close enough to go for the full fight. Sakura also isolated, so could get a little bit
हाँ,
messy
अबे
here
पीछे से
as the
खा
res
रहा.
does come through for Gamax. They're trying to encircle this one, but they
हाँ,
may
लेकिन
have
उस
bitten off a
Gamax
little
का
bit
भी
more than
cover
they
है ना
can
भाई.
chew with the amount of split that they've gone for. I think Sakura has read into that, and this retreat is timely.
It was the Arena firing shots, helping out Sakura, who was up ahead. Now, the danger not gone just yet. He repositions himself, gets away. And I do appreciate from a lot of these rosters today, not overcommitting. It's so easy to overcommit to a fight, to really feel the energy and push forward. Teams aren't scared to disengage, and I think that's going to be very valuable going into the final stages. Sometimes disengaging and not fighting the fight is the best course of action, and for E-Arena, they decide to do just that because Sakura, even though he was in a 1v1, he did have help from a distance. Once it became a 2v1, he read the situation correctly and decided to dip out. Gamix going to hold on to the shoreline as much as they possibly can. E-Arena, though, continues to kind of encircle them and trap them, and I do wonder if Gamix is truly going to be able to make their way down the shoreline, or they're going to have to go south and maybe towards Quarry and reposition.
They will be able to survive for just a little bit longer. The question is, how long do you spend doing this, right? Because all this while, teams are getting closer to Everest, to Hospital, to South George. They're getting ahead of the curve in terms of that rotational pace. So chasing down Gamax, I mean, is it really worth it for E-Arena right now? I'm not sure if it's the wisest investment of time. If they get one Elim, okay, they have managed to find that knock. I imagine they're going to turn around now and start to head into the circle. Anything more than this, I think, is a bit of an over-investment. They might just try and prove me wrong.
You know, I think it's just a matter of respect. I mean, Gamix, let's face it, they've been getting pushed. And when teams see them, they push into Gamix. They take advantage of the situation. Focus now onto Kenotro. Finale is down, unfortunately. Plur has to be the gatekeeper now to try and protect his position. But Scarface is coming up from the backhand side. Cat's trying to do exactly that too, but he gets taken down. Firefox with the recovery should get the pick up. Scarface, I believe, is going to be the linchpin, if I'm not mistaken.
Could be important here. Matcap has to go in for the res over towards Ketch, but the off angle, Ozzy-san clocks him again, and that's going to force another player from Fireflux to have to respond to this. Stage 1, reses are possible, but Ozzy-san has been so important for Kira. Making this one work. By the way, this Gamax Arena fight could crash into this engagement. Remember, they are still going over towards the south side of Quarry. It's getting a little bit nuts. As well as Yangon Galacticos, who are on the other side of the bridge, they're gearing up to try and make a crossing themselves.
Looks like Fireflux still trying to get the reses as they possibly can. Solus has made his way over to start at least one pickup. Ozzy-san can't get the read, can't get the vision to clean up the remaining members of Fireflux, so they do recover just a little bit. Remember, this fight so impactful for Canatrope to work their way up, and they now have to do it as a duo, which is never easy. Ozzy-san, potential disengagement, or at least for sure a reposition. Now the question is, will Fireflux fire in his position? Yes, they will. Ozzy-san, just a matter of health. Fireflux get the finish, and now they're down to one.
Oh, looking for Ozzy-san taking care of that off angle. Really good news for them. Fireflux trying to piece themselves back together here. Looks like they may be able to do just that, but what can Yangon Galacticos do about it? A nade for Matcap. That should be good. No, he's caught running away, and instead is the bullet professional. Now, Fireflux can disengage, and they get back to this one. Ketch needs to get a heal off. You imagine they've got time to do so. Can Yangon Galacticos push in? No, they're going east. They're fully disengaged from this. By the way, E-Arena are now fighting in Primals with Gamax on the southwest side.
This is nuts, isn't it? And Gamax just down to his solo. Mind you, the solo left was got the pickup on the downed player, and you think about how Gamax started this with a downed player out of nowhere, hitting the divot with just a sliver of health. And E-Arena so punishing, looking to put Gamax into the grave very early on. The overcommitment, but I mean, for E-Arena, very healthy points, 67. They put themselves up within top 3. Yes, it is an overcommitment, but I think for them, they're fine with this. No worries whatsoever.
I mean, they can play small ball PUBG Mobile, right? They can go for these small point games. You get a team wipe, that is 4 points. At this stage. That's enough to see you completely safe. They have now hit that 70-point threshold that we've been talking about so much in terms of where we expect that 8th place to end up. So getting up and over this early on is great news. We see a replay of the engagement, the hiccups that they were able to find. Tiny K rolling up.
कॉन्फिडेंस चाहिए पे हमारे बोर्ड से उतर ओ फिस्ट कर दिया अभी लेकिन ये लोग ऑफेंस नहीं लेते पता है वो लोग मतलब रिवेंज लेते हैं ऑफेंस नहीं लेते कभी ऐसे इंडिया में अगर फिस्ट कर लिए तो भाई पब्लिक ही इतना ये कर लेगी वो शिट इसको फिस्ट कर दिया ये डिसरिस्पेक्ट भाई वो लोग गेम खेल रहे हैं भाई उनको पता है वो स्पोर्टिंग स्पिरिट में लेते हैं कैजुअलिटी तो नहीं लिया लेकिन अभी हगना मत लिया देखो 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 भाई
Why is this so personal? What storyline did we miss?
I don't know, man. Go off, I guess.
There's no smiles either. Like, oh, there we go. Okay, little smile. I was like, wow, they are genuinely upset.
You know what is important about what E-Arena have done here? Sure, they make a decision that we can call into question, but the more important thing is that there is currently a team on the west coast of the next circle that would be in a fight with E-Arena, potentially Gamax as well. That is very important, of course. I'm talking about an Alpha 7. They sit on the west edge of this circle. That would have been a contested spot.
स्टार्टिंग में जोन दिया था किधर आने वाले गटका पे
if Alpha 7 could get a big game here, I'll place in
किधर है पावर किधर है
That's fair. That's a great call out for Alpha 7.
दिख रही नहीं
maybe singing the praises of E-Arena being totally over aggressive on the Gamax side. Zone very small now. Plenty of teams still on the outskirts. Horda has a bit of a split, a 2-2 split at the moment. You've got all Rangers also surrounding them. AXTMG just on the outskirts. Power a great spot, however, in the middle. And Power already having a wonderful day, obviously coming off of at least a good finish in that game number 2. And I believe here, they are going to be the team to watch out for who might be able to make a deep run, which would be wonderful for them. They're just a little bit below that threshold, still a very healthy spot.
ये qualified है, Horda भी qualified बोल दूँगा मैं.
You got the shot.
Power भी qualified है.
That is Al Haji's father.
RCB भी qualified है. RCB पता है RCB.
He's locked in right now.
वो भी qualified है.
Being in an important position.
अभी
rightly so.
NS अगर और 5 10 पॉइंट निकाल दिया तो
the power family can play off one another beautifully.
NS
And I saw
थोड़ा
it in the
ठीक ठाक लग
backlines
रहा है,
too. Maybe
नहीं इतना
with some
बाजी
comms. Hey, we need to do this. Pick it up, right? He was being active during the team huddle in between games. So
हम
shout
लोग
out
को
to the
points
dads.
चाहिए
We
भाई।
love family support systems when it
एक
comes to
20
esports.
bomb
It's
मिल
so
गया तो
impactful. And I tell you
oh
what,
we are
you
in
can
the
truly
game
make
brothers
a big impact in your kid's life, in your competitor's life, in your family's life by giving them support in esports, and that's a beautiful
5
thing,
game 50
especially he's
point
able to
let's
get
go
all the way out here to Riyadh.
45 भी निकाल लिया तो
That was
क्वालीफाई
my
लग
dad's
रहा है
birthday
मेरे
yesterday as well. So,
Yeah.
you know, we're all about celebrating dad.
Without a doubt, without a
right
doubt.
now. Happy birthday to my dad for yesterday. Probably should have done that yesterday.
Actually,
but
yeah.
You know what?
But you know what? You got it in now.
Yeah. Happy birthday to Kalaris for a few days ago.
Yes,
We've got
yes.
coming up probably.
50 सेफ क्वालिफिकेशन
All
बोल
of that.
सकता हूँ
That's right.
45 थोड़ा
He's not my
रिस्की हो
dad.
जाए
Kalaris is not my father.
लेट्स गो
Thank you for
अरे लोग क्या
clarifying.
बात करते हैं
just to call that
कमेंट्री
one
में
out.
कुछ भी करते
There you go,
हैं
Claire. If
I
you didn't know, Claris, you're not John's father.
I know what he's
That's
like.
out of the bag.
He'll yeah. Anyway.
You're wild guy. I love it though. E-Arena opposite of Fireflux and a bit of a headbutt potential. I look at Catch right next to Mormon. They're side by side as they go in, and R8's not too far away either, although I do foresee them going a little bit further in. But yeah, fights
ये
off.
लो ये तो मजा कर रही है
One
सबके
down,
साथ
30K to follow. Mormon shots out.
ये
Catch
मजा कर रही
melting.
है
E-Arena, but only for a little bit. Sakura, a little matter of
दूर का
health.
प्लेयर आ गया थर्ड पार्टी हम लोग होंगे
Fireflux
नहीं
still
नहीं
with
मेरे
the
को लगा हम
advantage,
लोग
you have to
आगे
assume, with the solo. And that's going to be, oh, now R8's into the mix. So all three teams do, in fact, end up colliding.
Oh, E-Arena on the
खत्म
rematch
E-Arena
with
भाई पे
Fireflux from the end of the last match.
इम्पॉसिबल है
Get
इधर से
interrupted, but R8 are turned away.
R8
at
खुश
the
जाओ यार
door. Almost
ओ हम लोग पे अच्छा
immediately, they
अरे
try
यार
and push
अच्छा
in,
जोन था
and
यार
immediately the
तो
shot
वापस
bring
जाना
out
पड़ेगा
Mormon, rolls on forwards in the threatening presence
Falcon
of
से
this
fight लेना
holocron.
पड़ेगा शायद
Tries to take another player down, blip in the horn, giving it up in the horn, giving it large. Prestige now to the back lines. ID with the backup, but two players now. A step
Oh,
up to fight the
crazy,
Prestige
crazy.
though, with a spray down onto one. It's traded, and the hop out wide. Prestige now, the last player alive. But
अरे मार दे
Holocron still moving
अच्छा हमारी
around,
तरफ है
slow and threatening. The pace is there,
Bro,
and they
ये
sweep them aside.
FF
Fireflux are out of there. E-Arena stay alive with 8 elims, and the rematch
अरे मार
continues.
And even though they only have a duo, they have the hovercraft, which could be critical later on. Now the question is, does another team come into the fold? Will we see Adrian with intense game now start the challenge onto E-Arena up ahead? Again, a very talented roster, but also can get aggressive when they want to. And there is value in pushing E-Arena in this moment. Intense game, desperately need points. They need to elevate themselves up towards top 8. It's getting serious for them. Getting aggressive might be the way.
Vision have really started to suffer in this engagement with Rage, holding down Gatka and doing pretty well. But they have got Little Boy down on the floor here and are likely to get that one flushed away. Nothing really to do there. And in come Power. They might look to third party this. There's not too much that anyone can do about it. Playing this southeast building is going to play very, very well for them. You've got to imagine that the supplies are running low across the way. You can see the underarms coming on through. Al-Haji cooking it. Trying to chef it up.
पावर ने पहले दिखा दिया था ना इधर जोन आने वाला था
Pops it in through the doorway. Don't
हैक भी क्या है इसके पास
He does get the bounce around the corner.
गेम चालू होने के पहले गटका दिखाया था इसको
Now, there's a little bit of time right now between these two rosters to kind of take their time. However, I believe Hora is going to come crashing in for the third party and the cleanup. That's something they need to desperately be aware of. Narvalo is also scanning the areas, but my concern is Hora coming in to this influence rage, power engagement. Al-Haji down, unfortunately. Diego firing blind. He doesn't know his opponent, but he just wants to get any shot he possibly can, and he will eventually fall low through the window. Fahim, easy, also pushing up. Easy. Nade's being put. It's going to be thrown. That's going to be a grenade. And Yank mentioned,
power wipe karo.
Just as Power starts to get control.
Hora को भी wipe कर दो power. अजय ने Hora power में कोई भी जीता है लेकिन ये पहले INF को wipe करो. अरे INF wipe करो बे kills मत दो ये लोग को.
Is going abysmally wrong now as Alpha 7 are lighting them up from across the way as well. There is no angle that's safe, but they connect.
If Alpha 7 somehow comes out of this fight even from a distance with the victory. This could be huge for them because they control a significant portion of the map. Narvalo has been hanging out towards the northern side of this entire engagement, and therefore Falcons potentially making a play call for Redux to come over and also fire down on Power,
IG wipe करो,
on Influence
INF
Rage,
wipe
who's
करो,
currently
AX wipe
embroiled
करो,
in a
खत्म।
desperate fight for Power.
और हम लोग 20 बॉम्बर ले लिए तो oh my god मजा आ जाएगा।
Alive and kicking. They've got a lot of pressure into this area. You can't imagine that the Falcons are going to be able to do too much against them. On the inside, it is only small
अबे वाइप कर दो बे,
teams.
INF का एक बंदा बैठा है। ये क्या सीन है? क्या सीन है?
Try and go for the time. You can see Narvalo and Redux
Nice,
both
nice.
moving back
Oh,
over to
sticky
the
bomb
north
down
side
there.
of those chopsticks. They're going to have to try and fight off against Rectum Kaya now.
Power.
वो हम लोग जोन में
I feel like I've
बहुत
gotten 2 or
प्यारा
3
जोन है।
lives in this fight. They've had
तो
so
निकाल
many
दो
down
यार,
players. They
तो
managed to
AX,
recover, and they
come on guys,
stayed
kills चाहिए,
a
kills चाहिए।
4-man unit.
बस हो गया,
If
इतना
they
पैसे
keep
भी नहीं
easing
खेल
back
सकते
up,
हम
which I
लोग,
have
kills
no
चाहिए
doubt
है।
they're going to be able to do so because Law just doesn't have the line of sight needed in order to get the cleanup on the down player. Actually, Law takes a little bit more damage himself off from Alpha 7, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken. Now, all these rosters now have to shift into the next zone, so this fight can still take its time, but eventually Blue, it's going to start hurting.
This is the
ये वाइप है इधर, ये लोग वाइप है।
having crashed onto the east side of this compound, right? It's closer to the center of the circle. You have those routes away.
एक
They're
अच्छा
going to
चीज
be a
है
little bit
कि
less contested. The
हम
difficulty
लोग जोन
is
में
that there's not
और
really
बाकी
good
के
space to
बॉटम
go
के जो टीम्स हैं
towards.
वाइप हो
At
चुके
the
हैं, तो
moment,
हम लोग
the
अगर
compound
चिकन
that
निकल
sits
गई तो
just to
बिग
the
जंप हो
west
जाएगा।
of Gatka, sorry, of the chopsticks, is going to be
चलिए
unoccupied. The
IG
question
और
is, do they
A7
know
है,
that?
INF
And
भी
the
ऑलमोस्ट
second question that you need to follow
खत्म हो
that
गया,
up
लेकिन और
with is,
4
do they
पॉइंट
have the
निकल के
vehicles
गए।
and the utility to make that crossing successfully without
पुश कर दो यार, INF पे तो पुश कर
Easy
दो यार।
now start to push
एक ही
forward.
बंदा है यार, कम ऑन पावर
Closing the
फाइट कर
vice grip
सकते हैं
onto Law. This
चलो
nade
डेड है, डेड
could
है।
be big. He throws it out.
Dead,
Law
dead,
can't
dead.
reposition at the moment. Alhaji, another nade, not wanting to overcommit. They don't want to get up close and personal in the CQC fight. Law has
चलो
finally
मार दिया
fallen.
मार दिया।
Now you can start to
INF
push
गया,
up. Focus on Jiggle. Focus on No Fear from Hora. Influence Ranger now out of there. You know there's only
अभी
one
इधर
more
कोई भी
team
फाइट
you have
जीते
to
मेरे
deal
को
with.
घंटा
Two
फर्क
players
नहीं।
from Hora are there.
अभी
and
एक्स
Alpha
को
7
गेम
starts
निकालना
to
है,
make
ये
their approach.
परफेक्ट
A
सिनेरियो।
2-2
इधर गेम नहीं
split
निकाले तो
as
खत्म
Alpha
है,
7 start
तो
to
फिर
ferry
क्वालिफाइंग
players
का
across
चांस ही
the
नहीं
open
है।
ground in the vehicle there. They leave Rivo as the forward position. Power crossing the open ground now against Hora. No knock sent towards Power.
Bro.
Jiggle gets taken down to half HP. Alhaji's now up to the wall with Easy following up nicely.
Yes,
They're up into the top floor as well. They're starting to overwhelm
मार
Hora
दिए बे।
here, and there really isn't any resistance.
क्या
It's
मार
taking
रहे
them
लोग?
a really disciplined push there, and shots being
Bro,
missed by Hora
easy hold का
allows
हो रहा
them
कि
across the open
wow,
yard, and they will
next level,
control
next
Gatka,
level.
sweep
क्या
through it.
घुसे हैं
5
अंदर
elims
bro,
down, and they're on
impossible है वो
ball,
ऐसे
but the
ADS पे
rotation
कौन
needs to
घुसता
happen
है?
fast.
And just
Confidence ये
really
बोलते
say how
confidence, gun
impressive
power
that
का
was. They
confidence
had
चाहिए।
so many down players, and they take
Bro, ये
two
तो
teams
easy
out
होता हो
while
रहा है कि
keeping
हो रहा
4
थ्रो
up.
कर
But
दिए या
now
तो ये
the
लोग पावर
struggles
बहुत अच्छा
really
खेल
start to
दिए।
begin. Alpha 7 take advantage. They knew this fight was going down the entire time, and they are now punishing Power's rotation. But Alpha 7
वो
is
करना
not
ही
the
था,
one
Alpha
works just
7
yet.
अच्छा भाई
IG
थी।
might be sneaking up behind them as well.
Can they ruin it for their countrymen?
चलो IG
Intense game. No,
निकाल दो,
nobody
IG को
spotted.
वाइप करो,
Notch
IG को
Red
वाइप करो
Force
गाइस,
gonna
IG को
clock
वाइप
silence
करो।
out in the open there. Rafa forward behind the smoke, and Alpha 7 are going to lose one as well. That is Power extracting a little bit of revenge onto Alpha 7. They have managed to get more than 1 point, so maybe they could turn things around here. Mafioso still
wipe
is
करो, wipe
present
करो।
with 2 players from Intense game down. That is that northern side assuaged, but they still need to get closer to this next zone.
7, can they recover? They've lost their down player, which honestly is pretty good. I think they would have committed to most likely trying to get Mafioso up, which would have overexposed themselves to more shots, and we could have witnessed a collapse. I'd rather them go at this as a 3-man unit than a 4-man, but still overexposed out in the open.
Zone
Force
अपने पे
to
आया
try
guys
and challenge
शायद।
Power. That nade will split the difference between the
good
two,
nade, यार।
give a little bit of damage to Easy, but not much.
ये good nade
Power
है।
can still
कार फटेगी, कार
desperately hurt
फटेगी।
Alpha 7 in this moment.
Oh, Vidan found by that nade. Career finally connects with it. Ravo steps forward for some information, but there's an answer. Easy again with that spray down, but more is invested. And Alpha 7 do win the fight here with 3 players alive. They're playing on the northwestern side. They'll have to go further, but there is a compound that sits ahead of them. Those buildings they can survive it. In the meantime, Yangon Galacticos in a really important position, playing in the neck of those 2 chopsticks with Nongshim just over that ridgeline in the main compound further south.
And by the way, just to put a cap on it, Nongshim Red Force is truly the reason why Alpha 7 is
ये
still
नहीं मार पाएगा,
able
इधर
to
से नहीं
play
मारेगा,
this
बहुत
game.
difficult है।
If it wasn't for them applying pressure onto IG, who was
ये
coming
खुद-
up onto the backside of Alpha
खुद
7,
tension में
Alpha
बैठे हैं।
7 would have been mowed down.
I'm looking at the Falcons in that eastern chopstick. I'm looking at Regnum Kaya in that western chopstick.
Come on, EX. Come on,
Would love
EX.
for Yangon Galacticos to get a little bit of
Four
pressure
man
set
है
their
यार,
way.
पहले
But
बार
at the
4
moment,
man
there's no
बचे.
crashes really to be found.
मार
You
दो
can see
यार.
Alpha 7. They're worried
Cyrex
about this
मार रहा है,
compound.
Cyrex
Drop
मार
the
रहा है.
smoke. That's
DOT
covering
भी
off
मार
the
रहा है, क्या
nose
बात.
of
और
the
IG को मार रहे हैं. Very
and
good,
they're
very
going to
good.
try and move
Wipe
on
कर दो,
up.
wipe
They
कर दो,
will
IG
find
को wipe कर दो.
unoccupied right now. They're waiting for those spray downs to come, but they're not going to happen.
तीन
Not from
किल,
that
तीन
direction
किल.
anyway.
क्या बात है, 3 किल. Very good यार, very good.
I think they'll find out now. Yeah, it's going to be unoccupied. I don't
Come on EX.
mind
अरे Cyrex मार रहा है,
them
Cyrex
taking
मार रहा है,
leisurely
EA को भी
pace
मार
to
रहा
the
है.
compounds, throwing smoke. Keep
क्या
your head
बात
on a
है
swivel.
Cyrex, 4
You don't
किल,
want to get
क्या
caught by
बात है.
surprise. Let's face it, Alpha 7 has
चलो
been
guys, हो जाएगा, हो
non-stop
जाएगा.
caught by surprise, taken down one
अरे
by one
bro,
by
लेकिन
one. So you can tell
बहुत difficult है यार हम लोग. Zone
all
difficult
those
है हम
previous
लोग.
experiences weighing heavily
Falcon के
back in
बंदे
their
मारेंगे.
mind.
अरे
AXTMG
क्या
starts
बात
to
है.
move in.
किधर आए
Route
हो?
from Falcons wants to get these
हाँ
shots
ठीक है, ठीक
connected if he
है.
possibly
Okay,
can.
okay,
You
easy,
don't want
easy.
AXTMG
अरे
to
मत
be
करो
where they
यार
currently
ये.
are. Falcons are looking to punish them.
Koa will be resible there. Navalo holding
Brigade
it down
आएगा ये
as
लोग
well
पे.
towards Yangon Galacticos.
अरे क्या हो रहा है यार. ब्रो यार मेरा तो बराबर चल रहा है सब. ये देखो बोलो का स्ट्रीम अटक
Intense
गया.
game,
हाँ हो गया,
beautiful
हो
as
गया.
well, and now Alpha 7 are up to 5 elims. Remember, this is all the arena's fault.
ब्रो
for
दो
Alpha
नॉक
7.
है यार.
Well, Arena as well.
Falcon
like I
को
said,
suppress
Noxious
कर दो
Red
यार
Force
कोई.
helping
Falcon
them
को
out just
suppress
a
कर
little
दो.
bit. So you got two teams who unintentionally ended up helping
हाँ
Alpha
एक
7
नंबर
in their
A7
desperation
बहुत
attempt
बढ़िया.
to make it
A7
to
बहुत
the
बढ़िया.
grand
रेपो जा रहे
finals.
जवान.
YG up ahead. Falcons
Suppress हो
starting
गए
to move
Falcon.
up. Regnum
Falcon suppress हो
Karya
गए.
still
अभी
within the
वही 7 पे
chopsticks, as
फोकस
you
करेंगे. हम
mentioned,
लोग को मिल जाएगा.
trying to continue this battle. They've been having to try
दोनों नॉक
and
है क्या?
fight one fight
Casualty
up
क्यों ले रहे हो?
top,
एक
fight
जन
the
जा
fight
सकते
down
हो.
below. YG though also has to worry about Noxious Red
अबे
Force, who's
यार
going to be
नारियल
just
उधर नॉक
behind them,
है.
and St.
दोनों नॉक
Cloud
है.
has managed to make his way up, but Falcons isn't realistic that they can even leave this spot
अबे
because as
हेनरी भी
soon
गया
as they
बे.
apex the top
डिवोटी
of
भी
this
गया.
ravine, they're getting
ब्रो
mowed
क्या
down.
कर रहे हैं?
It's
क्या कर
difficult,
रहे
right? You need to be sure that you have a path forwards, getting access to the buildings that Yangon
कौन
Galacticos
बाकी है
player would
अभी?
be
Cyrex
beautiful.
Alone
AXTMG
man है
going
क्या?
down is actually a massive bonus for
Top
them as
5 आ
well,
गए.
because it
यार
means that
ये
now they
यार
only
come
have
on
to
bro,
worry
come on
about
bro.
their western flank.
कैसे?
They will no longer be
इतना अच्छा
overexposed
पोज ही
when
में
they go for
रहते
these
bro.
peaks, and they have a little bit more
शी
leeway.
यार.
The circle goes away from the chopsticks, so this fight now will have to take place. But the same is true
4
on
point
the
bro.
other spur of the chopsticks.
नहीं हो
With
सकता
Regnum
ऐसा.
Kaya needing to push in from that northern side, they have to make a move, and Yangon Galacticos
Eliminated
don't want to be anywhere near this.
impossible है अभी. फिर से
Young
qualify.
Galacticos shooting
मतलब
at
एक ऐसा
Noxious Red
25
Force
पॉइंट
up
का
ahead.
गेम चाहिए.
Regnum
तो
Karya are also moving in.
एक
Potentially
10 पॉइंट
crashing
का
Yangon
गेम नहीं आ रहा है
Galacticos.
bro.
Falcons going to
25
take
तो
advantage
बहुत
of this, and I
मुश्किल
think
हो
it's about to
जाएगा.
culminate into a massive
Very
square off
difficult यार.
between three
चलेगा
rosters.
एंटी
Yangon
एंटी
Galacticos
अच्छा
will
मारी
get
थी
early
यार.
down. Noxious Red Force has
4
started to
किल
attack,
अच्छे
and
थे.
Falcons are also getting active in the attack.
चलेगा
Regnum
इंडिया
Kaya
ओपन इंडिया
also
ओपन.
chiming in
No
there
no.
from the opposite
No
angle,
hit
and they
nothing.
catch Yangon
बहुत अच्छा
Galacticos
खेला
going
यार
for
guys.
a really strange
जो भी
retreat there, I
chat में
have to
like
say.
and
They
subscribe
didn't
कर
really
देना.
have the cover to go for it, not yet, and they
Comment
do
कर दो,
manage to
comment
stay
कर दो.
alive as 3,
Chat
sure,
में
so
spam
maybe
कर
they're
दो
just
guys.
playing for placements, but at their current standing on the table, they are in 8th place.
कोई
They
भी
don't
एक
want to let
player
these
को
games get away
find
from them
the
when they have a dead
people.
central position. A nice
Chat
spray down
में
from
spam
Silas
कर दो.
connects through the smoke. That should be resible. They have got the cover to do so, but that means Regnum Kaya can move into the main basin at the base of the chopsticks.
Yo, I love the aggression from
जीजी रे
Silas.
जीजी रे. अच्छा खेले रे बहुत अच्छा खेले.
But they get away just in
अरे
the
न
nick of
ओपी रे.
time. Silas
बहुत अच्छा जोन दिला है.
has to make a decision.
सब अच्छा खेल रहे
Push
हैं.
up,
वो
back up with my
दो
team.
casualty
What's
entry
my
में
play? It looks like he's fully committed.
थोड़ा सा
Tunnel, and that's going to be one down. He clears the angle to the left. Ralph continues to
बहुत
pre-fire,
मुश्किल है.
and he's going to punish
Falcon
Silas,
बहुत
who
OP
made
है.
a great attempt. But Regnum Karya is not done. They continue to push up. Team Falcons
मेरे को
need to
लग
be
रहा है.
ready.
2 players down
NS
now,
अच्छा
but
खेल
the
रही है.
offense
NS
from
का चिकन
Yangon
कर रही है.
Galacticos, and more are pouring in over the top. A huge
मार रही है, NS
punishment
मार रही है.
over towards Regnum Kaya, and they are
RG
obliterated
wipe है, RG
in the
wipe
basin
है.
there. Wild crawling back to the rest of his team, and by that I mean just Loxy,
Falcon नहीं
who
निकल पाएगी
remains
लेकिन
standing
इधर
for
से.
Regnum Kaya,
ये मारी
trying
भी
to
ना
keep
तो नहीं
things
निकल
going.
पाएगी Falcon.
Navalo could be
Impossible है.
rezzed here, and the Falcons could be playing up with 4.
YG मारी बैठी है. वो लोग पकड़
Galacticos,
लेंगे.
they pull back, but they draw them in to a death spiral.
It's a question of what Loxy can do.
RG का
I
last
like the
player मेरे को लगता
aggression. I
है
think
heal
Regnum
battle
Karya
करके कितने
Falcons,
points
they were
निकल
opposite
सकते
of each
निकाल
other a
लेगा.
little bit too long. They said enough
और
is enough.
Falcon
Went
इधर से
down,
ऊपर
let's
जाती है. YG
capitalize
वाइप
on
कर
it,
दे
but it
या
was
तो अगर फैल्कन वाइची को वाइप कर दी तो क्रेजी। अगर A7 भी ये गेम निकाल लिया ना, और कमबैक ऑफ द सेंचुरी होगा ये।
Falcons, they are that bubble team. They are right there in 8th place. Their spot in the
A7 को देख
finals
लो,
is
3 मैन
not
है, 5
guaranteed.
किल
There are so many
किल का
teams
कोटा निकल
nipping
गया
on their
और एक
heels,
दो निकल निकल गया तो बस है 7 किल चिकन भी निकल गया तो 17 पॉइंट आ गए गेम में आ गए 7 किल सीधा 45 पे आ जाएंगे
One nade over the top, no knocks.
ये देखो बोल रहा ना YG बीटी कर देगी
Smile.
फैल्कन को
He's going to invest it here. Ralph is healing, but will it be quick enough?
Oh,
Not quite
crazy
there.
यार
He
Smile
does
good
find the
nade यार
knock.
good nade
Yangon Galacticos unlikely to push out to flush it out though here, and they will allow this res to
IDG का बंदा
Actually,
बीटी
more
कर देगा
nades
मेरे
being
को लग
passed
रहा
on over. Smile wants to put this one to bed, but
नहीं,
Redox is
नहीं।
going for the res.
आएंगे वो
Question
लोग
is,
स्मोक
where does
करके
he put
आएंगे
it? Could maybe take out Loxy
स्नीक
with
इन
it
कर रहा है
instead.
बे
Being on Galacticos, they don't want to push out there. You've got the unknown Loxy, who you don't know where
आ
he's
रहा है क्या
currently
इतना
at. You
साउंड
know
आ
he's
रहा
in
है
this
उसको
vicinity. You've also
क्या
got
बात है
Falcons ready for you, but for Loxy, trying to do what
आ
Silas
गया
could
खाया
not
खाया
do.
मार देंगे वो लोग
Push
को
up
घुस
and
के
take
मारना
down
चाहिए
Roster with the
अभी
surprise
तक तो
attack. The nade is cooking. Falcons are pushing. They know where Loxy's at.
Easy.
Shotgun out, but no effect.
लेकिन
Random
अभी
Karya
अरे लूटो
are
मत
out, and
जोन
it
जा
will be
भाई
Falcons continuing to push on.
They push out of the
आएगा अभी नेड आएगा YG का नेड
Yangon
आएगा
Galacticos, I think they
जल्दी
may be
नेड
out of
करना
nades
चाहिए वो
now.
लोग
Not really too many more to play with. The nade bobbles in, but Smile's not up at the windowsill.
Nice
Falcons have to push up. And they have to
A7
push
जोन
now.
से जा रहा है
Alpha 7 getting cut out by
भाई
the blue zone.
मस्ट विन
However,
गेम है ये लोग
into
को
the meat
जोन से
grinder,
नॉक हो रहे
and
हैं
Yangon Galacticos
वाइप
hold
हो
their
गए
nerve. They draw back and back
ब्रो
and
क्या
back, and every single step they take backwards,
ये
they
सब
find a
जोन
player
से
running towards them. They're able to
खत्म हो
farm
गए
up those
इस भाई
points and push in towards those top 8. But in the meantime, it's Nongshim Red Force who have been chilling for the
जय
longest
फैल्कन भी भाई
time. Out
बोला
on
था
the
ना
south
फैल्कन
side.
ऊपर आएगी तो
Top
एनएस का ही
two,
गेम लग रहा था
Noxium
मेरे
Red
को स्टार्ट
Force,
से
a big win would put them comfortably within the top, or potentially edging closer to top 3. But anyways, with the point standings, most likely going to the finals, this is
जोन की एनएस
imperative.
पे
An
कहते हैं एनएस
imperative
का ही
victory
गेम
they
लग ही
take for
रहा
Yangon
था
Galacticos, also a team that is very
लास्ट
close to the bubble,
ब्रो ये
just
हील
1 point
बैटल वाला
ahead
है
of Team Falcons. A win here would also separate them from the other teams nipping
ब्रो
at
ये
their
हील
heels.
बैटल वाला
They've got
जोन
the
है
blue zone. They've got to push up, and Noxium Red Force are ready to mow them down.
खत्म है
Romeo
ये
turns the
हील बैटल
corner
में
here
जाएगा
for
भी नहीं
next. They
एनएस
safe
वाइप
from
कर
Dog
देगी ये
C
लोग को
for just a moment longer. The smokes
बिनी का
haven't
एंगल
come
देख
through
लो बिनी
as
का एंगल
Nongshim
देख
Red
लो
Force are closer to the center of the circle. This
मतलब वो
pace
लोग
needs to be
एक्सपेक्ट
coming
कर रहे हैं
out
कि सब
from
ऊपर है
Yangon
लेकिन बिनी
Galacticos.
नीचे है
And
ब्रो
St.
बिनी
Cloud's
निकाल
going to reach
सकते हो
out into the open. This is
कवर
bold.
आएगा देखो उसको
Very,
कवर
very
आएगा
dangerous coming through. Needs to stay safe.
नेड कर दो
Falls back
खत्म
into
है
the smoke here. And looks to unleash a little bit more.
बिनी पोची
Stepping
देगा
a
ही
little
नहीं
bit closer to this Smile, playing on the south side of the building. And these shots aren't connecting for Yangon Galacticos. They still have nades and mollies and everything to play
Oh,
with.
bro.
Yangon Galacticos very exposed out in the open at the moment. They continue to push up through the smokes. The
Good,
nade's gonna
bro,
hurt.
क्या
Samu's
है
gonna be
बे?
down.
वो
That's
गंदा
gonna put
फेंका
Yangon
था वो।
Galacticos with just
खत्म है
2
वाइप है
members.
भाई
Smile
वाइप
also
है
gone.
इम्पॉसिबल है
Is this
उधर
a
से ठीक है
victory for Noxium Red Force to
हाइट
add up to the
एडवांटेज भी
total
है
where they currently
खत्म है
stand? Yes, it
जीजी
will
रे
be next.
जीजी रे
So
एनएस
Red Force will take
पहले ही
the
कॉल कर
victory.
दिया था
They
एनएस का अच्छे
dominate
से
in fashion, and
गुड
that is so
गेम रे
critical
एनएस
because it puts them well within the top 5 and well on their way to grand
यार
finals.
There are
गुड गेम
over
एनएस गुड
70
गेम
points now
जो
for
भी है
4
चैट
of
में
our
लाइक एंड
teams.
सब्सक्राइब कर
Fireflux,
दो लाइक एंड
Arena,
सब्सक्राइब
Power
हो जाएगा
Esports, Aura Esports as well. They are on 71 or higher points. That puts them safe over that threshold as long as they can keep this pace. They may have done enough already, but it's teams like Nongshim Red Force who now are at 61 points after that match, where they will feel a lot safer. As the camera pans over Alpha 7, they didn't do enough that match to put themselves back in the conversation. Sure, it wasn't a one-point game, but they are still down towards the bottom half, barely solidly, and they still have such a long way to go. They need to keep themselves together. And you can see he's even missing.
ये देखो ये वाला नॉक्स किधर है ये इसका था बहुत अच्छा गेम था
one fight up top, fight the fight down below. All those
इधर
previous
की ठीक है
experiences.
जोन में है ठीक है
The back of their mind.
ये दो आने का जरूरत ही नहीं था हम लोग वन मैन आ सकते थे एक मैन जोन बना सकता था चलो अगर गाड़ी भी नहीं है इवन इफ यू आर कमिंग उधर आ रहे हो तो हेनरी वो एक ऐसे पोजीशन में था जो वो स्मोक कर सकता था जिधर वो लोग ठोक रहे थे ये देखो ये इधर आए ठीक है ओके ये इधर रुके हैं ठीक है ये जिधर रुके हैं ना हेनरी बहुत दूर नहीं है ये लोग से हेनरी अगर वो हैशटैग स्मोक कर लेता और आर्यन और डिवोटी आए इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग हाँ आर्यन और डिवोटी आए सायरक जोन में है उधर सायरक अभी भी जोन में है ठीक है आई अंडरस्टैंड योर एक्सपेक्टिंग वो जोन ऑब्वियसली उधर बनेगा जिधर आर्यन और डिवोटी आए उधर जोन बना भी ठीक है बट अगर यू आर कमिंग अवे यू नो कि आप गाड़ी लेके आ रहे हो आप पूरा अटेंशन सीक कर रहे हो तो हेनरी एक ऐसे पोजीशन में जिधर वो स्मोक कर सकता था या तो अगर आर्यन चला रहा है डिवोटी स्मोक पिन कर सकता था और स्मोक नहीं है तो हेनरी कर सकता था या तो आर्यन दे सकता था ब्रो आप बोल रहे हो स्मोक नहीं है, इम्पॉसिबल है ना, फाइट हुआ है ना, आप यूटिलिटी यूज किए हो किधर, तो ब्रो ये तो वेस्ट हो गया है ना ब्रो। आप इजी स्मोक कर सकते थे, प्ले बना सकते थे, ले लो फॉर सम टाइम, कितने 24 अलाइव थे, और इधर से ही फिर एनएस ने भी किल्स निकाले थे, एनएस के पास भी एक ही किल था एंड तक, फिर वो लोग ने किल्स निकाले। सेम गोज विद फैल्कन, देखो एक किल है, फैल्कन ने भी अच्छे किल निकाले थे, A7 भी अच्छे किल निकाले थे, वो लोग के बस किंग नहीं थे। तो वही करना है यार, आप ये रोटेशन के टाइम कैसे मर रहे हो हमेशा। आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि भाई ऐसा जानबूझ के कर रहे हैं, लेकिन कुछ तो गलती हो रहा है ना कि हमेशा हो रहा है। चलो ये गेम में कैजुअलिटी भी नहीं ली, हर गेम कैजुअलिटी हो रहा था, मतलब 3 मैन खेल रहे, कभी कभी 2 मैन खेल रहे हैं, वो स्टार्टिंग के मायने मर रहे, लेकिन ये टाइम 4 मैन थे यार, कम ऑन। साइरेक्स उधर से कवर दे सकता था, कुछ तो कर सकता था, साइरेक्स डेड प्लेयर हो गया उधर, हम लोग ऑलमोस्ट 3 मैन ही खेल रहे वापस। नहीं यार, ये नहीं कर सकते लोग। तो फिर आके भी थोड़ा सा ये देखो साइरेक्स लोग, अच्छा साइरेक्स है, आर्यन नहीं है, आर्यन पीछे है सॉरी, और आर्यन भी नॉक हो गया।
Not taking more casualties is a bit of a miracle, really. Obvious crossing on this swing out to the northern side. They will be able to get these reses done as they were able to
होना
find
चाहिए
that
था,
shot
ये
over
होना
the
चाहिए
tower,
था।
which is really good news. Intense game through fall as well, and now
I'll be
Alpha
back,
7 are up
guys,
to
I'll be
5
back.
elims. Remember, this is all the arena's fault. Their Alpha 7 are alive.
भूल गया। ओ भाई कैसे करते हैं, आई फॉरगॉट ब्रो, मैं भूल गया हूँ। ठीक है स्क्रीन रिकॉर्डिंग नहीं कर रहा, नहीं करें, क्या कर रहा हूँ।
Well, Arena as well as, like I said, Noxium Red Force helping them out just a little bit. So you got two teams who unintentionally ended up helping Alpha 7 in their desperation attempt to make it to the grand finals. YG up ahead, Falcons starting to move up. Regnum Karya still within the chopsticks, as you mentioned, trying to continue this battle. They've been having to try and fight one fight up top, fight the fight down below. YG, though, also has to worry about Noxium Red Force, who's going to be just behind them, and Say Cloud has managed to make his way up. But Falcons, is it realistic that they can even leave this spot? Because as soon as they apex the top of this ravine, they're getting mowed down.
It's difficult, right? You need to be sure that you have a...
There's either chopsticks or there's that ridge by the road. Both of those would have worked really well. In the end, they did end up doing that, as did Regnum, but for me, I was like, oh, it's a bit dicey.
I kind of disagree with that, because they, at that point, you had Yangon Galactic
Sound
down chopsticks, and then on top of that, you have Regnum Karya and Falcons just trying to find a way. I was actually impressed by the way Falcons was playing that. I really enjoyed the way that they were able to push it, and it's something that I was talking with Max backstage as well during that match, is the way that they were pushing up, using that utility to their advantage. And in regards to just them wanting to rotate south, it was going to be a bit harder because you still had AXTMG at that point. So I think the scouting came into play there for Falcons, and they ended up making the right decision.
It's tough though because you're circle side, right? So you've got a timer above your head. All the pressure is on you to make the right decision. So it's by the by here. Let's actually head over to Barney now, who is ready on the stage actually with Team Vision after they had a great game too.
Welcome back to the main stage here at the Qiddiya Esports Arena. I've got Never Alone joining me from Team Vision. Never Alone, we've got to talk about Map 2. It was such a huge potential turning point for you guys in the survival stage. 13 eliminations, 19 points in total. That actually bumped you up to 10th place as well in our rankings. Give me kind of a breakdown of how you thought that map went. What was going well, what was going not so well? Because you secured a lot of points.
Yeah. So the preparation for the last day is to move quick because we land like in the middle of the map, which is cool. So that's our game plan, and to scout like every place possible. And we got a good spot and we took advantage of it.
Well, you obviously need a really strong finish, or you need another one of those maps to secure more points, right? You got 1 Erangel, 2 Miramars left on the map. What are you thinking? Like, tell us your strategies, if you can tell us some, and you know, how are you going to solidify your spot in the grand finals?
In terms of the last Erangel game, we will play fast as usual, but in Miramar it's difficult to play fast. We will play like it depends like on the zone, and we will like push and get kills as much as we can.
Keep it steady, keep it strong. I like it. Thank you so much, Never Alone. I really appreciate it. Best of luck in the last 3 maps, and we hope to see you in those grand finals. For now, back to you guys.
Thanks, Barney. Well, a big jump up from Vision after that game 2, of course, here. They're going to need a little bit more, though, here in the survival stage. Let's move to another team, of course, Yangon. Obviously, they get themselves to 2nd place here. It's a good 2nd place. They had quite a bit of that compound for quite a while in that game. What do you think, Seven?
I'm even rewinding back. I'm going back to how they were even able to get there. They were trying to just rotate into the main island through that western bridge, and Fireflex was just holding it down. So they made the right choice by going towards the eastern bridge and just going on a full wrap. One thing that I really enjoyed about this team of how they were able to take control of that chopsticks area was Romeo. Romeo was doing some amazing scouting. He was making sure he got in the right spot too. He noticed that nobody was going to be there in chopsticks, and then he kind of gave the call.
More than just 6 eliminations.
And teams from the western side can start to move, and that's what's given E-Arena this players. They could be in danger as well from that direction.
Yangon Galactica considered the current 6 eliminations, and more potentially to come as they focus their attention on Division. But Volt hits a nasty shot from a distance in conjunction with Marcelo. Volt will continue to reposition, maybe challenging that of Romeo. Route, by the way, for Falcons, looking to get revenge onto Gamex for taking on Alpha 7. Romeo continuing to hit some nasty shots. Vision putting up a wonderful fight. This could go any which way for Yangon Galactica as well. Only 1 more player remains. Hora is starting to also get in onto the Vision fight. Noah, very weak. Marcelo should very weak himself, but manages to stay alive, believe it or not.
Yangon Galacticos chiming in. Romeo's still alive and still giving it large. 1 player down on the backlines for Vision now. Just 1 player remaining left standing for them. Noah desperately trying to get the res, but he has to face the fight first. And Sky, Jiggle, both pouring damage down over this hillside. Sleepy's there with a backup in the ghillie suit, and it will go undetected by them. Over on the north side, Vision are wiped away, and Aura will continue for that fight on the northern edge, but the Falcons continue to take shots across every which way.
Yeah, that's right. And even when Hora ends up winning this, they need to move forward, and you got Falcons who's ready to gun you down. Gamex as well, and I'm loving where Fireflux is currently at, pretty much having the only hardcover POIs outside of Narvalo and Ralph and Redox, who's going to be for Falcons, relatively split. Gamex has been on a terror. 4 eliminations, I know that doesn't seem like much, but for a Gamex roster who has yet to show themselves, not only do they take down Alpha 7, but they're also challenging the top dogs of Falcons, who are currently up top. But this fight, this push up the hill, it's almost impossible.
It is very, very difficult when you're dealing with players that are sat up in that watchtower. You need to plant those nades in. You need to be accurate and deadly with them. But Ralph seems to know where he's fighting against. So do they. They probably nade over, but don't find the knock. They need some backup here. It is just Ralph on this position. Narvalo is off in the distance. They're playing split right now. And Arthur puts another stone up. Oh, but the top doesn't fully connect. In the meantime, Now Valo's soloing Aura on that northeast side, and actually Aura could change the tune of this one. They could go straight to Gamax instead of uphill towards Ralph.
They absolutely could, and if they take down Gamax, surely they're going to take down the 2 from Team Falcons. Ralph repositions. E-Arena could also fire some shots on his back end. He needs to be very aware of his surroundings and who is currently at play. Aura, nade onto Arthur, going to be a bit short. They've got to continue to push up. For Falcons, though, continually getting picked apart. Joker takes down another from the Falcons roster, leaving them as a duo. Aura stacks. We would never
should have this on lockdown as 2 players now sit right on the back to the blue for Aura.
Irina could jump all the way up into top 5. Massive gain for them. But E-Arena has also been on fire. They've been playing very well. With them having 3 players and the high ground, Hora has no choice but to use the natural terrain, a.k.a. the rocks, and just kind of bunny hop between them. Mormon, who's been starting to push up, but no roster has been so very impressive, not only in group stages, but also the survival side of things. Sakura taking some damage. Mormon starting to push up, but no drama here.
Fortunately, they've not been able to really give us what we were hoping for. Only time will tell whether or not they'll be able to pull it out the bag this time around for match number 4. It is now or never. It is do or die. Let's get the show on the road.
Let's go.
Thank you very much, Jasmine, and of course the wonderful Barney Banks down on the stage. It is myself, Jackie, joined by the one, the only Blancamus Prime. How you doing, bro?
It's me, Blancamus Prime. I'm in my prime time here to watch these players shine.
That's a rhyme.
Yeah, we're on the grind.
And there will need to be some point-based crimes out there on the battleground today, of course, as we are getting close towards the curtain call for the survival stage. And man, it has been intense already today. We've seen some players that look incredibly frustrated, some squads that are looking to excel, and it all really comes down to these final 3 games of day 2 of the survival stage, here live from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, there's a perfect metaphor right there for the Falcons as well. It's like the 3 players, and Ralph, Redox, and Koa, they're all playing the game on the phone. Not Valo. He's knocked. Yeah. Specking.
The Observer. They've got to fix that.
Yeah. I think he does give his life for the cause a lot of times, though. So
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. And hey, look,
he's practicing, though.
It's been a better kind of day of it, you know? It
has been a better day.
But like we say, mate, obviously it all really comes down to this. Other teams do have the possibility to lap you. We've seen certainly the bar rising inside of this lobby. 16 teams going in, only 8 will make it out. You can see the overall rankings right now from the first half of the day. This is the midway point, though, and it's only going to get more and more intense.
Fireflux at the top. Sort of surprising for me, actually. 88 points, which is a fantastic average to be finding, almost a 10-point average during these matches. I think overall, really, really well done to Fireflux. I do think Scarface has been a big influence for them. Though on the other hand of things, there has been a couple of throws today, right? There's been a couple of moments where you feel like they could do a lot better. I mean, Quarry, 4 players alive, all the space in the world, all of a sudden down to just the 3.
Yeah, not ideal. Not ideal. Overall, though, man, I think, you know, what we've really defined, at least over the course of this first half of day 2, has been the clear disparity between some of our teams. That bottom half of the lobby towards the upper echelons. There's a couple of teams that could still push and upset the rankings, specifically towards place 8. But we'll come back to that. Let's focus up. Plane paths in. We got the zone as well. We can dial in for this game.
Plane straight drifting right now.
Yeah, it does that. It does that.
Yeah.
Keeps you guessing. It's like a skateboard.
Pretty good. It's going for the old 500x grind on the path. But we're heading over towards the east side. Yangon Galacticos very over towards the center. 61 points as we head up towards 5th and upwards, around about that 70-point region. Team Falcons still in trouble in 8th, but it is a little bit of a drop down right over towards Influence Rage with 47 points. For Alpha 7 Esports, we're not going to talk about them all that much. They don't have a lot. They don't have a lot.
No. It would need to be a meteoric rise. And, you know, then you also need the teams above you to really struggle and absolutely fumble the bag for them to be able to make it back in. And of course, you think about the major talking point that comes with that. If they do not make it out, which at the minute seems like a very real possibility, we will have a guaranteed new champion crowned this year.
Absolutely. Now, we take a look at the middle side of the bracket, because I think that is probably most important for us to take a look at. It will be fantastic when we get through to the end of the day. We can crown the winners of the survival stage, who will have the privilege of whacking those keys in the old grinder. But if we look towards that middling section, which is the main contention point, right, for who's going through into the grand finals and who will be leaving us. It is that drop-off, 59 down to 47, but it's not massively different between 8th and 6th place, 61 down to 59. It's not crazy. I think for Fireflux, it will be very hard to knock them off their podium alongside E Arena. I think that they have done quite a lot so far, and they would have to have a horrendous day to finish things off, as well as an incredible pursuit from the teams behind.
Yeah. It's been classic power as well, where it feels like the minute they're in the survival stage, that true sort of might of the team is put on display. They thrive in these kind of lobbies. We've seen that. It's been far more aggressive. You can see them on screen now. Again, the talent on this team, it feels like Easy's been really instrumental to a lot of the setups, and Al Haji as well. You can't think of power without this man.
Yeah, you can't, honestly. I think for me personally, Easy been a bit more of a factor throughout this tournament so far, at least in the survival stage. I think Al Haji's great, and they certainly lose a lot of that confident demeanor when Al Haji goes down. But it is Easy making a lot of those calls. He's the one who seems the most animated when it comes to watching them over on their desk, in their booths.
He's just looked very crisp with the gun skill as well. Goes the extra mile, mate, in these kind of lobbies. Oh, hang on a minute. Already some action coming our way. Close quarters engagement with Silas starting it off on the peak up. Bullet from the back line though. So Vision giving as good as they get and trying to at least turn them back around. Forced to bail out on that one with the initial crash, not kicking off the way they wanted it to. If they got that opening knock, maybe it would have been a different story. Instead, you deviate further back, play off the cover.
Good decision from Regnum Kaya. I think when you get towards the end of the day here and you realize you're on the cusp, right? You're almost falling off that edge there. I think that's the smart decision to make. You don't want to go down too early in this one. I think they could have maybe pushed the issue if they were feeling a bit more comfortable towards the top side of the lobby. But here, I would say that's the right move. You're getting shot from an angle you have no clue where that angle is either. So you just make the quick getaway, especially getting tapped for 70 damage as well. So well played the Vault. Definitely sends them back off that position with a triumphant shot.
This is where those more influential decisions of knowing when to call it quits on a fight as well is really going to come in the early game. You'll see the difference in decision making for all these teams. Nongshin Red Force again there, they catch whiff of power immediately. You do not want to run the risk of not being able to really keep accruing points inside of this matchup with the last few games of the day. So just bail out on it early. Think about the bigger picture. No reason to stay around. Both of those teams in similar positions, 75 and 71 points between the both.
There's still opportunity for a crazy run-up. I mean, Influence Rage get themselves like a 20-point game or more, suddenly be in the running for sending upwards, and could be that case where Nongshin Red Force, as we saw in the final day of groups, slips away. And it was post-game 3 where that started to occur. So right now, aim of the game should be placements. Sometimes that idea of pulling things back a little bit can come back to haunt you, though. In that desperate moment of let's just make it to the end game, let's just get those points, you're leaving games with 1 or 2 points, getting towards a 7th place, but with only the 1 elimination, doesn't really cut it as much as it used to.
It would realistically cut the mustard this late into the survival stage.
R8, very, very close to Alpha 7. Already ahead of them in the rankings. Want to stay that way and at least go home with a little bit of pride, a little bit of reputation. They could go for a hunt down over towards Alpha 7, but I'm pretty sure they're quite clear on their position. A little nod over. push it back, but Ida actually heading further this way. Not allowing Alpha 7 to get away without a little bit of a sniff coming through from RA.
There's a quick pit stop with some bullets back over from Revo, at least to establish the fire their way.
35 points.
Of course, they can move off on this one. Again, these opening moments is going to be a little bit more timid. I want to run those risks of going down early, so no overcommit. Get the Falcons POV as well. A team that currently is in 8th place, but of course, like we've alluded to, it's not that different. The points above and below could be lapped. They've got to play consistent from this point forward still.
They had a good change of pace yesterday, in my opinion. Towards the end of the day, making much more aggressive rotations. I was a bit disappointed earlier today looking at the Sandhawk. Up until the moment when they made a pretty bold rotate through. Wish those rotates would come a little bit sooner, or at least give themselves a springboard closer to those areas earlier in the game. But they are being much more confident to make those plays. Now I'm hoping that now you're getting closer and closer and you see that finish line on the horizon. That doesn't worry them too much. Right now they are passing by Nongshim Red Force, at least the backline of the Kino Trope not too far behind either. Got an intense game over towards that south side as you saw, and we head over towards the eastern area of the map.
Intense game. Potentially they might actually run in to the Yangon Galacticos squad. Yangon, that I will say, I think again today it's been a better sort of decision making with the pace. They've been playing a little bit quicker, not really pulling their punches so much. Feels like their team's got a ton of talent. Like we were seeing it in some of the fights they were getting stuck into yesterday, right? You know, they were able to actually go head to head with some of the better teams in the lobby. And they're in a good spot, man. If they keep this up again, you know, we were seeing there is certainly a lot of potential. They could make it out, keep this run alive. Distance firefight on this one's with the Falcons catching vision back over towards Kina Trope. And that was the late flank in that you brought up. A couple bullets fired out that way.
My only issue with Yangon Galacticos is just the variance in ability. Right, there's multiple times where we've seen them either get like a massive game or go out fairly quickly with not much more of a whimper. And I think that's my issue with Yangon Galacticos, is not quite consistent enough for me. Where it's even now hard to make a full read on them. But you're right in the sense that there is potential there, right? The ceiling on that team's quite high. Unfortunately, a lot of times they're lower down towards the bottom floor.
More literally here, towards the bottom floor. Clearing out towards the bunker side, Sky's POV, Horror Esports. Again, a team that you could probably paint with a bit of a similar brush there. Feels like there is a ton of talent. Obviously, they've been really warming up again as well. Tied right now, 71 points between them and Nongshim Red Force.
That's been good.
Oh, yeah.
I think we had like a lot of, in fact, I think most of the teams that went through to the finals absolutely deserved it. I do think, obviously, the big question marks for a lot of people were Falcons and Alpha 7, but I personally don't think they played well enough in those group stages to even have a chance to get towards those grand finals, personally. I think both teams absolutely do belong here in the survival stage to reprove their worth. If anything, I think Falcons are almost appreciative of the extra time they get to figure out what their playstyle is going to be going forward. We even heard Revo talking about saying that, you know, something's got to change. Something has to change. We've got to figure it out. I think for Falcons, there are clear areas that could do with improvement. For Alpha 7, they've had it's a bit of a puzzle. A bit more puzzle of what's going on that team.
Yeah, he keeps guessing an awful lot more in reality. But hey, like we said, you know, we'll sort of keep up to date with how it's going for them over the course of these last 3 games, but at the minute, they're in very dire straits. On the bridge crossing down towards Yangon Galacticos, we did see a fight from the backline there from E-Arena that have been looking absolutely stalwart in today's gameplay once again. Great rotations, taking chicken dinners, heads-up calls. It's looked fantastic to watch. Magnum Caria once again making their appearance on the broadcast here, down towards R8, of course. Set up in the tree line, quick vision over. Top 6 looking for the shots. Meanwhile, backstab there onto the Falcons. It's a bit of a hybrid fight. 3 teams going up against each other. Power Falcons and intense game.
Yeah, Falcons just losing one out the bat. I mean, they're able to find one Elim back their way. The Fireflux playing what I would call kind of 2022 European gameplay here, which is just very central every single game. Not been punished too much for it. We moved over to more of a edge style in the past, but that's ever changing, is that meta of how teams want to expand out towards the outer edges or keep it cut over towards the center. And it's really just picking your moments of when you want to go for that one. For right now, Fireflux has had some fairly good rotations to get here, fairly clean. Some good homework's been coming through on their end too, in terms of picking those rotations and when they can go for them. For the Falcons, on the other hand, it is just a case of going for those rotations and making the clear decision from everyone on that team to follow on it. Falcons down to 3 now. This would be a good game to get further up those steps inside of the leaderboard. Seems a bit more safe going forward. Gamax currently over towards the eastern side of this circle, but still fairly central. But down towards Milt is where I'm most worried for a lot of teams. Crunching through that area of the map, not always easy. E-Arena currently right on the back lines of it though. Likely one of the first teams to find troubles getting out from here, especially because Yangon Galacticos know their location and Alpha 7's expecting a team to make that wrap through the fields on the eastern side.
Yeah, they had the double hovercraft when they were able to bonnet away the solo player from Yangon Galacticos. Since then, one of them was blown up. Still got some vehicles to work with, though, and have been advancing further forward. Squash is the one just peeking out on top floor window, trying to get a read in the lay of the land as they make their move over. Doxy Red Force down in the compound here as well. Quick peek up towards the ridge side. Doxy, seeing if he can spot them out.
Regnum Kai is a team that I'm definitely looking at. 7th place, but I think they're a team that should be going through, or should be at least hoping to make it through. I don't think it's a bad team whatsoever. Loxy, Wild, Silas, all very strong in their own right. Toshbig's had a good addition to the squad. And it's been close each time, right? Even in those group stages, it was close. They got knocked out in the final game when they were playing. I think it was 7th place. It was Thunder Talks and was it DRX? Which team was it that managed to get ahead of them? Either way, it was Ida.
Yes.
Ida, there we go. Ida was able to overlap them as well in that final game. It was only a few points here and there. So for Regnum Kaya, this is a team that I expect to make it through the survival stage, but in 7th place, it does look a little bit shaky.
And we get the push in here from Kinotrope. Ooh, shots in the back line. Good from Kesh for the opening damage. Scarface is up close to clean up as well. So Bizon's put to good use. Accrue those points and just leave the one man who's running through the tree line to try and close the gap between the horrific positions that we left into. Yeah, so kind of just trapped there.
Yeah. It's nice as well. I think that Ketch is seeing how Scarface is playing and I'm pretty much having that notion of I can't sit on the back lines anymore. I used to be the star on this team and I've got to bring that energy back again. I think he has been doing very well to support Scarface here. I think right now they're the 2 highest damage players in this lobby, with Ketch actually taking the 1st place there, which is really nice. Sometimes you do need to have a teammate step it up to give you that extra kick to be like, okay, I need to do my teammate proud.
This is a messy one. Hora with the split, behind the rock and up on top of the ridge with Vision. In the middle of the gulch there. Nades being thrown out from either side. Fair amount of damage translated onto either one of the teams. Smoke to play with, tucked in. Sleepy looking to try and engage from this, but quick peek from Marcelo over the top of the smoke. And he's able to grab that one. No fear going down to the follow-up nade as well, so it's really looking rough for Hora. And in come Noxian Red Force, able to dive on top of this. Doxy now. Going to see what he can steal away. The nade could be absolutely massive as well. Close quarters engagement on this one. Into the back, it detonates. And Vision are being blinded by the shrapnel. Oh, this is brutal.
Hora a slight opportunity to get away from this as well. Doxy on the top side will find one with a very clean spray down. Using the UMP here, now just Volt remaining. Sensibly the best player on this squad. Looking to finish off Horror at least. Caused them such problems in the past. And it's not a fun area to play this around Shelter. You have a lot of these positions that sit around, which is not always the most comfortable bits to cover. You can't fully commit underneath into the Shelter underground because you lack information, you lack knowledge. Someone can send over towards you and then just hold you out with nades or even vehicles to block the stairways. It's unenjoyable.
It's quite an elongated bout between them as well. I mean, Volt's been trying to find an off angle to peek back round. Ooh, did Tizzy spot him on the angle there, trying to peek back down? Got Tizzy on the ridge side, peeks up into it. Yeah, Tizzy knew. We've shut down Volt, so that's vision removed. Obviously in 10th place going into this one. A chance to really build themselves further up the standings. And Fireflux could still guard towards that as well when Nonshin have to reposition. Meanwhile, we get the fight in here between R8 and AX. Nades on the top, vehicles in play.
We push back down towards the south. It's an unfortunate assumption there coming through from Henry. I think he tried to at least go for a decent nade behind the tree. And I think that without the little information, it was pretty well placed, honestly, if the player was there. Ida finding Zizzy. Horror does finally go down to Doc C, and Nongshim Red Force on a bit of a tear here, despite, you know, probably going down to R8 in the next couple of moments. I still think a 7 game is very good. And it'll just keep them up towards the top side of the lobby. Power did lose one earlier, if we remember. E-Arena manages to get quite far through, at least with a couple of players, but Power immediately will snap down on top of them.
Yangon pushing up. Sakura close towards the action, but it's Mormon that throws out the first stone. Dive over the top as well with the movement, assisted by his teammate. Sakura, smooth moves with the battle back, and they're able to handle themselves quite nicely on that one. Even with the shots now raining in from Power, looking to snatch away some of those points. Even Revo chiming in. So Alpha 7 from the side, spotting an opportunity and looking to try and seize onto it. Romero, this is absolutely horrific, has to jump into the hovercraft, try and top himself back up, and look for some sort of getaway.
I think Romeo's in a pretty tough position, right? I'm not sure how you get out of the sun. I think the hovercraft will at least give him some capability, a little bit of a defense. E-Arena will send out. Sakura just slumped down on the side seating, and he will get popped out of there, and it will be over as Power picks up a couple more eliminations on their high ground position, which is very nice down towards the south side, and they can kind of cull a lot of the teams on the south. Alpha 7 playing this patient split over towards the east and have yet to lose a player. A lot of action over towards that north side as R8 slowly works their way down. Influence Rage did take a knock, so there is information there for them, and AX could get involved. They know roughly where these players are. In comes R8 though, and Influence Rage need to respond, but the players are nowhere nearby to help out at this Wizard Tower. Mark goes in, finds one. Diego left it uncomfortable. 1v3.
So easy on the cleanup, straight in, at his limit for that one, and dispatches both of them. And like you said, there's no real room to trade off with one another as well, with how fragmented Influence Rage was. And with the majority of the teams that are going down being top heavy in the standings, this is opening up opportunities for a squad like R8 to keep building from this one. So being able to at least find what they need in the moment, either from the sideline gets hit by AX that are now pushing up onto it. Laura's in as well, taking a face now with their attention turned. The bonnet of Arian, that's going to connect back onto R8.
Yeah, at least like that from AX, who decided to get involved on that. They saw the fighting happening. Fireflux have made their way over towards this western side and looking to sweep on through. Ketch already find the first over towards Lorazin on the Molotov. Now looking for a little bit more here. Continuing to rack up those points and see themselves further solidified over towards that first place spot. Currently running with 93 points to 79 from E-Arena on this game. Max Judo by Rio. This is happening multiple times. Gamax are able to find the shots over toward Alpha 7. A proper nemesis on their hands. It's Turkey versus Turkey though.
Regnum Karia up close onto Fireflux. Silas firing off shells from the DBS. Good damage done. Meanwhile, the Elim feed showing us the tail between Alpha 7 and Gamax. Scarface with the quick reposition. The Orgle hit heavy. Another man down. Sideline shots as well from AX. Still third partying.
Man, is that Regnum Karia just down and out there? Yes, it is.
क्या बात है
Firefox brings the heat straight to them. They can hold this team under. R8 still holding this influence for Rage as well as intense game. Fireflux as well as Red and Kai go down in mutual destruction.
गोली पे चिल्लाते हैं, नॉक पे तो भूल जाओ भाई. और गलती से सोल या गोल्डन का नॉक आ गया. खत्म है.
Intense game. Almost on target there. A little bit of chip damage, but not enough to blow them away. A little bit of cover to work with on this ridge side with a slight lip. Ooh, good tag, peeks up off the back of it. Prestige sees them sprinting in. Wants to get the knock onto the low HP players, but the sideline shots, it's always AX. Right now, they're the ones popping up, finding prime opportunities to at least steal away a couple points here and there. The big dive in from Rafa's good. R8 are finished off because of it, but AX are still in position to make it even more uncomfortable. That's another knockback over. Rafa gets one before he falls.
I mean, AX has been doing great work from this north side, just watching down this way. They've been ever present, ever watching over towards them. Now Valo with a dangerous peek coming through here. Falcons do move up underneath power, using them as almost bodyguards. This slight ridge line that runs through it looks good. Romeo sends on over. We'll find one of the players from Alpha 7, but it's just a knock that's easily raised back up again. And right now they claim a lot of space, but in comes the Falcons off the back of a knock as well. This looks not so great for Alpha 7.
Oh, you've got to be quick to handle this one. Up close and personal. Koa biting at them. He's able to find the first dive over the top as well. Follow-up shots coming through. Backstab from Ragnar. His power able to find some damage. Close range molly thrown in as well. Trying to commit onto those knock players, but they don't want to over-egg it. You've got Carrillo further up the ridge side. Oh, what are you doing? Looking to assist the teammate thrown in. It's uncomfortable, and Koa is on his last legs because of it.
Man, Valo, what was that, dude? Now, this could be a nice bouncer coming through from Ralph, but he sends it too far over, and the crazy golf maneuver's not happening. Another airburst, and surprisingly, Alpha 7's managed to get their players back up again. There's a big one from Koa. Once again, this guy is just carrying the team.
Single-handedly, Koa is making the difference for the Falcons right now, through thick and thin, even when it's his own team, making it uncomfortable. They do at least dive in. All of the knocks confirmed. You've only got the one man up on the rich side for Alpha 7 looking to at least try and hold them back. But Falcons do win out on that one. They turn their attention round towards power that are starting to rotate.
That's madness. Koa's basically in a 1v2 team situation. Playing against his own teammates and Alpha 7. Unbelievable stuff. But what a nade. Very, very nice. I mean, Ralph at least opens up the way for the crazy golf maneuver off the back of the tree. Not quite a hole in one, but they'll take a bonus.
AX up close. Not going to be able to win out on that one versus intense game. Devotee goes down, but Power Esports have caught whiff of this. They're making their move up. 3 nades to play with for Al Haji. He can dash those in whilst the squad sets up from the side. Rio further out as well. Silence realizing that he's being pushed on. Prime's one of his own.
Intense game, 2 plays here. Silence been quite effective over the last day. In comes the Falcons. Ralph first to face over towards Carrillo. Alpha 7 getting pushed back multiple times. Tries to catch him on the corner. At least has his position on lockdown now.
The choreography in Carrillo has to be absolutely perfect on this. Now Valor with a UMP. Bait out shot on the corner. Seeing if they could...
Position.
Bait out shot on the corner, seeing if they could commit to the wide swing round. They've still got nades. That could be the difference. Al Haji, though, realizing this is a prime time opportunity to backstab onto the Falcons. He pulls up to the party. Up close and personal. Carrillo goes down. Goodbye, Alpha 7, as Navallo makes the move. Nade in as well. Padrino from Intense Game starting to barrage bullets down. Al Haji commits with a burst. Falcons blown away.
Big redemption coming through from Navallo there as well. The Falcons will absolutely take that, which pushes them further up the tables now, which is very, very nice. It feels less desperate going into our final 2 games. But Power, we were talking about them earlier, they step it up in those survival stages. When times get desperate, they make it happen.
With the communication looking so clean on this one, the rotates have been good, the engagements have always been in their favor. A 3-2 split in the battle of attrition, the final two squads here. This could be another massive game for Power. Keep them building up the rankings. And like we said, they thrive in the survival stage. They don't just survive blank, and they're showing that once again this year.
Now look at the finish off, intense game. Over towards the lumberyard. Power looking to hack through them. We'll see if they can call timber, or if intense game can stand tall like the Oaks in Canada.
Power को क्या फर्क है? कुछ भी हो जाए.
Call them the Redwoods. You will be red with anger if they're able to close the gap. That's what they're setting up for. Attention from Silence onto Al-Haji. Tucks himself in behind the tree. Nade primed out, low on health for Dan. Able to at least get right where he needs to be. Put that DPS in lethal range. See if he can get this connection. Fragment the players. Intense game would be able to be shot from the sideline. Debating whether or not he wants to engage. Onto his teammate of Padrino though from further away. Battling over the top side. Silence drops in. The shot fires out. He's ringing for Fahiden. He tucks in. Running. Ready. The backstab's there. He's able to grab one. Padrino with the response. It's good.
Haji will find him though. Padrino versus Al-Haji, and one more. Will be an incredible 1v2, but it's not going to be easy. Al-Haji up towards the rocks. And that's Power. Take themselves a chicken dinner, looking more like Bear Grylls in these final moments. True survivors here on our stage. Intense game, weren't quite able to hold it out. A tree with more bark than it had bites. Unfortunately there in the end, but it's Falcons who get themselves a nice couple of points there, removing Alpha 7 and dooming them further down the tables.
That one was an awkward fight to remember, but it's anything but uncomfortable for Power. Al-Happy makes another appearance, and of course he's looking animated. The entire team having a very different aura around them than what we saw in the group stage. Far better to witness, but the other...